Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend that I don't think it's appropriate to come on the family vacation? I am 21 female, my boyfriend is 23 male, let's call him Charlie. Around a month ago, my mum mentioned a family vacation while in a call with me. Charlie and I have been together for about 1 year. He has still not met my mum's side of the family, only my dad's. My mum lives in my home country together with my stepdad, and my stepbrother lives there too, but not in our hometown. Because of this, he hasn't had the chance to meet them yet. Yesterday, I mentioned it to my best friend, with who I have been best friends with for 17 years now. I was on the phone with her. She is still in the city that we grew up in, and goes to university there, and because of that, she often sees my parents. My mum invited her like any other vacation, and this time she has decided to come. The trip is fully paid for by my stepdad and my mum. My stepbrother will be bringing his fiancée too. Charlie was in the room while I was on the call and asked me what he should pack. I looked at him confused and asked if he's going somewhere. He said that he needs to know what to pack for the trip. I laughed and I thought that he was joking since I never said that he was coming. When I realized that he was serious, I sat him down and told him that he isn't going to be able to come and there was no reservation for him, plus it would be very inappropriate to invite him over, knowing that this is a family trip and it will make a bad impression like he's trying to come just because it's going to be free. They have never met him and there aren't any rooms left. He doesn't have a passport and other reasons that I tried explaining. He flipped out on me, telling me that I'm a cow and that I'm probably cheating on him and that's why he's not invited. I tried explaining, but he left the apartment. He hasn't returned since yesterday, and at 4 a.m. I have to leave for the apartment. I'm worried sick. I called him many times and texted, but he isn't responding. So am I the asshole? I'm just gonna go with straight off the bat. He deserves to be broken up with for that behavior. I know we can advocate for therapy, we can get through this, we can come to a common ground on this one. But Jesus Christ, what an overreaction from this man. This man is 23 going on 6 years old. He doesn't have a passport. What does he expect to happen if he goes to the airport? Honestly, OP, I wouldn't be worried sick if I were you. I'd be looking for ways to get out of this relationship. Not the asshole for this one. He is a train wreck. And now in the comments, not the asshole. He's your boyfriend, not your husband, and he sounds like a crap one at that. How do you just assume that you're going somewhere that you haven't been invited to? Girl, go on your trip and text him that it's over. You'll be better off. You're the asshole. You might not have meant to, but you just told him there is no future with you and he's not good enough to meet your family. OP replies, I just don't think it's appropriate to meet your significant other's parents for the first time on a trip that is paid by them. He doesn't even have a passport. I want to say not the asshole, but I feel like more information is needed. From the moment both of you found out about this trip, have you explicitly told him your parents never paid for a second ticket? Equally on this matter, if you knew that he wasn't invited and you've been dating for a year, shouldn't you have had a conversation with your mother and stepdad about this being a good time to finally meet him? They live abroad, and you won't get many chances, so why not? Even if you and your boyfriend pay for his ticket alone. Two of your reasons didn't sit well either. You basically said he's not family, so why have you been dating him for a year, and also mentioned there are no rooms left? Why isn't he sleeping with you? It doesn't sound like you truly are invested in this relationship with him. Perhaps he sees that and he flipped out like he did as he finally has hit his boiling point. He was an asshole for his reaction, but perhaps his reaction was understandable if what I said is somewhat true. So you might be a soft asshole. And OP replies, because I'm gonna be in the same room as my best friend, and there's only one bed in the room that we're in, and also, I'm not the one hosting. And yes, I told him 2 weeks ago. Everyone sucks here. When would you get a better opportunity to introduce him to your mother's side of the family? Obviously, his reaction sucks too. And OP replies, this is the worst opportunity, plus it's physically impossible since he has no passport. I know my mother better than anyone else, and in my 21 years of life, I have been like a duck attached to its mama. To my mum, this will look like he wants a free trip, and my stepdad requested for him not to come. Not the asshole. He doesn't even have a passport? How would he even go? He's pissed because he's not getting a free vacation. Let the trash take itself out, girl. This has nothing to do with you. Go see your family and then come back and live your life. And OP replies, drinking a smoothie on a beach bar right now with the future sister-in-law. I have to admit, I am having a great time. And now, onto the update. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a nice day. After my original post, I figured I could make an update. When I was leaving from the apartment 4 days ago, I left a key with my neighbor/friend. Yesterday, she called me to inform me that my boyfriend's stuff is missing and my writing studio and my manga collection are destroyed. Some of my savings are stolen, and yesterday he tried to empty my bank account but failed miserably. $5,000 are apparently missing from the drawer of my nightstand, and my boyfriend is nowhere to be found. Lucky for me, my stepbrother's fiance's mother is a lawyer. Mum's side of the family, stepbrother, his fiance, mum, stepdad, grandmas and grandpas, etc. are trying to calm me down and get me away from the situation as much as possible. I thought this was a minor problem in the beginning, but here we are. Dad's side of the family is telling me to drop the charges and that I am overreacting. Yes, I did place charges. I will have to deal with it further when I get back, but police are already on the hunt for him. Some people said that I was the asshole because this would be the perfect time to meet my family, but in this case, it just seems like a direct, I want a free trip to me. Somebody pointed out that we have communication problems. Yes, we do. I didn't really want to mention this, but I'm on the autism spectrum, so it's pretty normal in a way. He knew 2.5 weeks before I went on the trip, and I made it clear that he won't be coming. And now in the comments, do not drop the charges. He literally went crazy over not going on the trip. The man is effing nuts. OP replies, he has destroyed my MacBook, iPad, laptop, and I have sadly lost the book of drafts that I had there. Wow, I'm sorry, but as a fellow writer, I'd be mad as hell if someone did that to me. How are you holding up, all things considered? And OP replies, from a little kid, my mother and stepbrother have taught me to hold my ground and keep calm in situations when I know I'm gonna have the last laugh. Well, that's good, but honestly, don't drop the charges. See if you can get a restraining order from your ex-boyfriend, who I'm assuming now sounds crazy and dangerous. Not the asshole. Do not drop charges under any circumstances. Dad's side is jealous. Keep details away from him. Mum's side 100% correct and has your back. Repeat, do not drop charges. I hope you get the money back. Good luck with the police. And OP replies, I'm still at the trip, but my time was pretty much ruined thanks to it, and I'm getting phone calls every 5 minutes. You said it's not that serious? He destroyed personal property, which I'm guessing was somewhat valuable, stole $5,000, and then tried to steal more. Wow. Do not drop the charges. He stole a lot of money from you and destroyed expensive things. You are not the asshole. You've only been together for a year? That isn't long enough to take him on a family vacation, especially in another country. He sounds extremely immature. You tried to communicate with him and he still acted like an asshole. Keep us updated, OP, please. Poor OP, whatever she did, the asshole thing or not, in her OG post, didn't deserve to have her stuff stolen and destroyed. I think if she was worried the boyfriend wanted a free ride, she should have said that he had to pay it himself, but that's just me. Also, OP's dad's part of the family are jerks. Are they going to replace what was destroyed and return the $5,000 that was stolen? I don't think so. So they should all shut up if they're not being helpful. Hopefully OP takes security measures when returning to her house. It seems Dad's family won't be helping her once she comes back, so it's better that she presses charges and has police detain him before he could physically hurt OP or even murder her, because his reaction to a travel rejection went from 0 to 60 pretty quick. It's almost like if he was faking being a good person, and that situation triggered his seemingly out of left field response and made his mask slip. Am I the asshole for telling my niece why I kept a distance from her and her parents growing up? I, 42 male, have a niece, Lily, 18 female. Lily is the result of an affair that my ex-fiancé had with my brother while we were still together. I was led to believe that Lily was mine throughout the entire pregnancy and almost signed her birth certificate before my ex confessed out of guilt that Lily was probably my brother's. We did a DNA test and Lily wasn't mine. During my teens, I got into an accident which left me infertile. The doctors said my chances of fathering a child were slim to non-existent, so you can imagine how crushed I felt when I discovered that not only I'm not going to be a father, but I was also betrayed by two people I loved. It has been years since I did well for myself. I'm the first in my family to attend university, and I landed in a high-paying job right after graduation. I own my own business, invest in property, and since I'm both single and childless, I can spend my income however I please. My ex ended up marrying my brother. I'm somewhat cordial towards them, but I can't bring myself to fully forgive them for what they did. And although I know Lily is blameless, whenever I see her, I am constantly reminded of how I was once overjoyed with holding her in the hospital thinking she was mine, so I can't bear to look at her for too long. I didn't visit her growing up, didn't take her on fun trips, or give her lavish gifts like I did for the rest of my nieces and nephews. I wasn't mean or hateful to her, but I will admit I kept my distance. When my oldest nephew turned 18, I decided that I will pay for his college education since I could afford it, while his parents couldn't. I even rented him one of my apartments for cheap, so he wouldn't have to worry about money and could focus on getting his education. Since then, I did the same thing for two of my other nieces. Last week, Lily approached me during a family event and inquired if I could pay for her education. I told her no. She then called me a jerk and asked why I was so distant towards her and her parents, to the point where I couldn't even do her the same favor that I did for the rest of the cousins. I told her that her parents have enough money to afford her education, and asked her how she could possibly expect me to be okay with watching my ex and brother, who had an affair behind my back, play happy family in front of me. After that, Lily got quiet for the rest of the event and left early. I later got a call from my ex yelling at me for ruining her family. Apparently, she and my brother didn't bother telling Lily about what they did to me all those years ago, and now that she knows, she is so angry at them that she decided to go live with her boyfriend's family. I'm starting to feel guilty that I told her the truth, since it affected her more than I thought it would. But at the same time, she's grown enough to know the truth, and I don't think I could have lied to her face even if I wanted to. Am I the asshole? So me personally, my first reaction to this is not the asshole. You gave these things to the other kids because the family couldn't afford it, and you were in good standing with those families. It's very good of you to have done that for them, and I really respect that. Albeit for this story, I'm still on your side, and I think not the asshole. This is the problem with families keeping secrets. They don't stay secrets. They should have told her when she was old enough to understand, so that she wouldn't be caught by surprise when she found out. And it was only a matter of time before she did. What comes around goes around. Not the asshole. As someone in a family who likes to keep secrets, thank you for telling the truth. She deserved to know it, and she will appreciate it in the long run. It also gave her understanding on why her uncle treated her so differently, which clearly has plagued her. I'm sure her parents are upset to be caught in their lies for the second time in nearly 2 decades. But they are their lies. They are responsible for their lies and the consequences of them. They should have told their own daughter first. Someone was going to tell her eventually, inside or outside the family. The thing is, both parents are demonstrably horrible people. They betrayed OP, repeatedly told lies to OP and everyone else to hide their relationship, and they almost let OP believe that he was the father. So the chances of them being honest, moral, good people, and doing the right thing with their own daughter, i.e. telling the truth about how they got together, was always going to be unlikely. Lie is gonna lie. Not the asshole. Your ex and brother should have talked to her. Sounds like maybe she asked them why you were distant with them and never got a clear answer, but she did now. Did her parents know that she was coming to ask you to pay for her education? If so, what did they expect? For you to jump and gladly do it? They are the assholes. And OP replies, I don't think my brother, or ex, knew that Lily was going to approach me and ask for me to pay for her education. She is their only child, and they both earn enough to put her through college. So my guess is that she approached me in order to make things easier for her parents, which is why I declined. I imagine that it also has to do with the fact her cousins have told her they have the best uncle ever, who paid for all of this stuff throughout their lives, and now their college too. She probably asked to see if you didn't like her, and why she never got that fun uncle. It's good that now she understands why, and has redirected her anger at her parents where it belongs. Not the asshole. Back up to the post, we have a quick edit/update. For those asking why it was so hard for me to look at Lily all those years, here's a couple of reasons to sum it up. My ex and I began dating when we were 13 and broke up when we were 24, so we were together for 11 years. She knew about my infertility issues and how much I wanted to be a dad, and still led me on to believe the baby was mine. 2. I named Lily when she was born, since I always liked the name and wanted to name my daughter that. My ex didn't change her name even after it was discovered she's not mine. 3. My brother and I look alike. Lily looks like my brother, and as a result, she also looks a lot like me. If my ex didn't tell me back then that I wasn't her father, I wouldn't have suspected a thing. And 4, having to witness a child that looks like me, has the name I chose, and was being raised by the woman I loved for so long, all the while being infertile, really made it impossible for me to be an active part of Lily's life like I was for her cousins, not out of resentment to her, but for the sake of my mental health. I decided to listen to some of your advice and text Lily. I asked her if she would like to meet up and have a conversation about all that went on, since like you said, she does deserve some answers. She hasn't replied yet, and if she will, I will update. And our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for throwing them out of a house that we own? Son and future in-laws decide to exclude his family from wedding. They thought son owned the house, not us." My wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house in PA that my son lives in. Our son went to college in PA and wanted to stay in the area, so we bought the house as a second home. We live in New Jersey and commute into Manhattan for work. We figured that he would have a place to live and we could visit every so often and spend some quality time together. We pay the taxes and services/maintenance on the house. Our son pays for his groceries and the house utilities. All was going well for a few years. Our son meets a girl and they get serious. We met her, and she seems nice enough. They announce their engagement, and she moves into the house with our son. Now for the problem, the wedding. We hold a little get-to-know-you barbecue at the Pennsylvania house. My son and daughter are there, as are our son's fiancée and her parents and sisters. We all seem to be getting along well. My wife, daughter, and the fiancé go into the house, along with her mother and sisters and my son. A few minutes later, my wife and daughter come out and are really upset. They come over and tell me they're leaving and driving back to New Jersey. I try to find out what happened. Once we get back to New Jersey and they calmed down, they tell me that our son and his fiancé, along with her family, don't want us at the wedding. According to what I was told, we are not their kind of people. I was livid. I called my son and asked him what the hell this was about. He tells me that her family feel that we are not good enough and will embarrass them at a family wedding, and that we are all uninvited from the wedding. I let a week go by to calm myself down and drive back to the Pennsylvania house. The new future in-laws are in the house along with my fiancé. It appears that they all moved into the house. They ask me why I'm there. I tell them that since we aren't invited to the wedding, I was coming over to talk to my son. They tell me to leave their house. I lost it and told them that they had 30 days to get out. I tell my son that I'm selling the house and he could find somewhere else to live with all of you. I go to a realtor in town and I list the house for sale. They call my son at work and tell him what I said. Apparently they thought that he owned the house. He calls me and asks why I'm selling his house, and I tell him I paid for it, along with the taxes on it, and it is mine. He was living there rent-free, but since he doesn't want us in his new life, he has to get out. I tell him the same as I told his future in-laws. They have 30 days to get out, and then I will get a lawyer and get them evicted. Am I the asshole for taking a hard stance on this? He is my son, but the in-laws seem to take over, and we no longer count. Not the asshole. And I want an update on this because it sounds nuts. What kind of people do they think they are? How was your son okay with excluding his whole family? Do you think your son has been brainwashed by his fiancée? How did he think the house was his when he didn't pay the taxes on it? So many questions. So many questions, but ultimately, being uninvited from the wedding, the in-laws having no idea they own the place, and the very rude behavior, for this instance, regardless of the lack of information, it's not the asshole. I just can't fathom what "we're not their kind of people" could actually mean, and how OP is not good enough for the people who moved into what they thought was OP's son's house. Based on what we've been told, not the arsehole, but something seems mighty suspicious to me. Not the arsehole. You don't need a lawyer in 30 days, you need one now. I am not familiar with Pennsylvania tenant laws, but you need to follow everything by the book so that they can't contest anything. I would also go back and videotape, with timestamp, the entire property inside and out, so they can be held accountable for any damage done. Not the arsehole. I actually find it hilarious he is so entitled to the house, he didn't even expect you to take it back after his actions. I believe this is exactly the reality check that he needed. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for not cutting my hair even though someone told me it was bringing back their trauma?" So for context, I have hair that is significantly longer than the average person. I get compliments about it all the time, and even though it's a hassle looking after it, I really do like it. My friend, who we'll call Kate, lost her mother to cancer before we met. I don't know the full story, but apparently she used to have hair as long as mine until she shaved it all off. Kate and I haven't been friends for long, but I really thought things were good between us until Kate pulled me aside one day to ask me for a favor. I asked her what favor it was, and she said she wanted me to cut my hair to at least just past my shoulders because it looked so much like her mom's. I thought she was just making a really bad joke, but it turned out she genuinely wanted me to do that. She said that it was bringing back her trauma to see my hair, and that she didn't know if she could keep being friends with me, as well as the fact that she really only asked because we were such close friends. She said she wanted to ask from the moment our friendship began, but wanted to wait since it would be weird if she asked then. I told her that I was sorry, but that I wouldn't be doing that. I love my hair. Here is where I might be the asshole. I told her a few reasons as to why I loved having long hair, and one of them was about how much I resembled my mother. Immediately, I felt bad because of the awkward time of the comment, and I tried to tell her that I wasn't making fun of her for not having a mum or anything, but this seemed to make her more mad. She started screaming and crying about how she thought that she could trust me, and how awful I was for gloating at the fact that my mother is still alive. I tried diffusing the situation, but it clearly wasn't going to work out, so I just ran out. Recently, I've been getting calls and texts from our friends about how disgusting I am, and it turns out Kate told them that I keep reminding her of her mum, and even once said that I look more like Kate's mum's daughter than Kate. I've tried explaining the truth, and most of my friends have sided with me, but a few don't believe me and are saying I'm a cow and that I should just cut my hair anyway, along with a comment or two about how hopefully I get to experience not having a mother soon. Jesus, oh my god, what is wrong with people? I really hope your mum dies soon so that you get to experience what it's like to have your own parent die on you, okay? I just can't with some of these posts, man. That is a terrible thing to say. Edit. I thought this would be worth mentioning. I did bring up the fact that I'm not the only long-haired person in the world, and that many people in my culture have long hair, and she countered it by saying that whilst that is true, she lives in a predominantly white neighborhood, and it's rare to see hair as long as her mother's or mine. She herself is white, whereas I am not so I'm not sure exactly why that was brought into it. So should I just do it even though she went behind my back and changed the story? I feel like if she wasn't still grieving, she wouldn't have done that. I kind of get it to an extent, because I myself went through something quite traumatic, and now I can't look at a very popular drink without getting flashbacks just because I had it in my hand at the time, but at the same time, I don't demand for store owners to stop selling them or anything, so why should she demand for me to cut my hair? r/oddly specific. If I was causing so much harm, then why would she continue to get to know me? And surely long hair isn't the only thing that reminds her of her mother, and why would she immediately get so emotional and start screaming at me? Surely in the situation she would be pleading. It's not like I share a striking resemblance to her. I don't even remotely look like her mother. It is just the hair length. Double edit, for those saying that I should cut her and the people who sided with her off, I totally hear you. Those few friends that did side with her had no right to act that way and make those comments about my mum, especially knowing that there was no way of definitely knowing who was telling the truth, since they weren't even there. But to me, Kate is just someone who is handling the loss of her mother poorly. So now I'm not sure what to do with my hair and what to do with our friendship. Last edit, I'd like to clear up a few misconceptions about me talking about my own mother. My comment was in no way me bringing up the fact that my mother was still alive. I just got a bit nervous at how insistent she was being and started trying to justify why I wouldn't be doing so. I know that it was a stupid comment to make, but in no way was I showing off the fact that my mother is still alive. Kate really made a mountain out of a molehill for this one. I really agree with OP and everything they've said in this situation so far. I agree that they weren't showing off the fact that their mother was still alive. Maybe wrong place, wrong time considering the resembled my mother part, but I don't think you intentionally did it to be an asshole. And in this situation, I don't think the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but as always, I could be wrong. My opinion on this one was really cemented by the fact that the friends came in and said, hopefully you get to experience not having a mother soon. Just piss off. No one asked. That's a deplorable thing to say. All of you friends go to hell, including the person that encouraged them to say that kind of thing. I'm genuinely shocked that things took such a right turn because you refused to cut your hair. Absolutely not the asshole. Those other people suck. Not the asshole. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Do not be pressured into doing this. Seriously, do not cut your hair. Things to consider. 1. Is Kate going to expect every girl with long hair in your school to cut it? 2. You shouldn't have to make physical changes to your appearance for a friend, ever. 3. Kate needs to come to terms with the fact that people have long hair. And 4. If she can't be friends with you because you have long hair, then this is not a friendship that you should be in. Re the friend's response, are you cutting your hair, and report any death threat comments to a member of staff at school. I suggest that you speak to your teacher about this anyway. It is inappropriate, and there may need to be a discussion about bodily autonomy. Not the asshole. If she has trauma, she needs therapy, not for all people with hair like her mum's to cut their hair. Your trigger control stops where someone else's bodily autonomy starts, not the asshole OP. Not the asshole. The world can't protect her from all of her triggers. It is your hair. She needs to address her grief, not force people to help her ignore it. Precisely. I lost my mother a year ago. There are things that trigger the grief response in me still, and it's my responsibility to cope when they crop up, or remove myself from places when the triggers are overwhelming. Therapy has helped me a lot. Forcing other people to change is not part of the healing process. Not the asshole. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for offending my ex's parents after they tried to get us back together? I am 38 female. I was in a relationship with Mark, 42 male, for 9 years. Mark was a widower with 2 kids when we met. His kids were not able to handle Mark moving on, so we discussed going slow and giving them room to accept it. And if not, when they both were out of the house, we could proceed at a faster pace. I was fine with that because I never wanted to push. So we dated and didn't live together or anything. Mark did therapy with the kids and have them speak to individual therapists to try and help them deal with their grief and to help them understand that he deserved to be happy. The kids were always very distant and cold toward me. I never pushed, but I did attempt to form a bond with them. But it always felt like I was being dismissed. Fast forward to both of them being out of the house, and they had expressed that they were uncomfortable with visiting the home if I were to move in, and that they would not be able to treat me like part of their family. Mark wanted us to give it a little more time, and maybe go out to visit as a couple before things progressed. So, a couple of months after that, we went out, along with his parents, to see his kids, and to all spend time together. They ignored me for the most part. The one time I wasn't ignored, someone mistook me for their mum, and the younger of the 2 kids snapped at me for not being quicker with my no in response. They attempted to take everyone out for dinner except for me. When the night came, they claimed they could only get a table for 5, not 6, and that it was a family dinner, so it should be me left out. It was after this I realized, despite Mark standing up for me, that I could not do it. I told him his kids would never be okay with me, and I had waited for 9 years, and they were still treating me like some pushy intruder who didn't even deserve casual friendliness. He was devastated, his parents were upset, and on and off since our breakup, they were in touch to check up on how I was doing. They then tried to set me up on a date with Mark a few weeks ago. I told them that they needed to put that to rest because it was not going to happen, that I was moving on with my life, and that they needed to let us all do the same because it was not healthy for us to be together. They said Mark and I love each other, and I said that we did, but that I loved myself enough to not tie myself forever to a man who has kids who will never ever come to terms with his moving on, that I had my dreams of a family, and that it was not something that I would sacrifice or carry out with someone who has a family who would treat them that badly. They said that I was unfairly blaming the kids and took offense to my not loving Mark enough to endure it. I felt bad because maybe I was too harsh. Am I the asshole? Wow, they really dragged it on for 9 years, and Mark wasn't able to snap the 2 kids out of it. As much as those 2 kids are autonomous and they are their own people, I may have to know more about the situation and what Mark did and did not do to bridge the gap here and make it a healthier dynamic for Mark, the partner, OP, and the kids. But just looking from the outside in, and me being in a situation where I've had to meet partners of my parents, and I always got along well with them, wasn't too hard in my experience, so I'm biased in that regard. I put a lot of blame on those kids for breaking this relationship, and on Mark for not trying hard enough to fix things himself. I go not the asshole for OP in this one. You tried for 9 years. You're stronger than I am, you've done a lot more than I would do in a situation like this, and I commend you for that. Not the asshole. If they approach you again, just tell them that it's not their place and you're done discussing this topic. Mark was allowing his kids to get away with controlling the situation, and if you ever did have kids with him, his older children would treat them the same as you. Just avoid and block them and work on moving on with your life. Mark cultivated this situation. It's nice that he put them in therapy and all, but they're adults now. It's time to grow up. When you give someone power and authority, it's almost impossible to reclaim it without drama. Mark's kids have been given authority over his love life. If he ever pushes back, he and his partner will face the backlash. As a widower, I'm sure few things scare him more than the thought of losing his relationship with his children. OP has no control over any of this. Her only option is to move on. 9 years was a long time to wait for them to come around. It was brave of you to leave the relationship. I wish you all the best. If you had stayed and had a kid, your kid would have been ostracized by his or her half-siblings, not the asshole. The only thing I'm mad at OP about is wasting her time on this, because I would have left a long time ago. She has the patience of a saint, not the asshole. It is very healthy to stop a situation in which you know you will never be happy. Those kids, on the other hand, sound a bit like spoiled brats. Maybe your ex-boyfriend shouldn't have waited this long to make it clear to them that he wants to move on. Given they apparently were involved in family and individual therapy, I don't think he didn't make it clear. I just don't think it ever got resolved, or it's possible it never would be resolved. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you want, because people have their own opinions about how life works. Am I the asshole for not answering my husband when he called? My husband is in a huge snit about this, and has taken himself to the spare room over it. Tonight was the first time since giving birth 7 months ago that I have been out at night, by which I mean I didn't do baby's bedtime feed and routine. I left to go to the cinema with a friend shortly before his bedtime routine would begin. Husband used to help for the first 3 months with evenings, but has since said that he is too busy and tired from work, so I do it. I talk to him through baby's routine, the room temp, lighting, noise, etc., preferences he has, and husband assured me that he had everything under control. The move barely started when I started getting calls from husband. I texted him asking what was wrong, and he said baby wasn't sleeping. I texted him back with reminders of how baby prefers things, and he said he had done it all. I checked the baby monitor, as the camera covers most of the room, and could see that the room lights were on, white noise machine was off, and he hadn't tucked baby into his blanket. I texted him to say as much, and he started calling me again despite knowing that I'm in the theater. He texted me to come home and put baby to bed. I told him I was sure he had everything in hand, and I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I did periodically check on the baby via the monitor, and he was okay once husband actually followed the sleep routine. After the movie, I saw that husband had continued to call me for like the next hour after we last spoke. When I got home, he started arguing with me for ignoring his calls and berating me because I left him alone. I offered to show him bedtime for the last 2 days before going out, and he didn't want to know. Am I the asshole for ignoring his calls and not helping with the baby? Absolutely not. He deserves to be ignored for doing that to you. He's just as much parent as you are. He had 2 days to be shown the bedtime routine, yet he refused to do any of that, which is his responsibility, and then hounded you while you're at the theater. He can get stuffed 6 ways to Sunday for all I care, not the asshole OP. Not the asshole. Your husband needs to pull his weight with regards to parenting. You were proactive in offering to show him beforehand. I think the solution is that you tell him that he needs to take turns with you doing the evening routines. Offering no longer cuts it. She needs to force him to do it every other night, since by his admission he couldn't do it once. And what would happen if she was in hospital? I know he is perfectly capable, but if that's his argument, then he needs the practice, not the asshole. He is using weaponized incompetence to get out of doing something that he doesn't want to do. What a selfish asshole. It sounds like dad doesn't want to do his chores of checks notes, raising his effing kid. Weaponized incompetence makes my blood boil. Not the asshole. This is called malicious, willful ignorance on your husband's part. He didn't know what to do because he didn't want to know what to do. He wanted you to come home and do it for him. He needs to face the fact that he's the father now, and being a father means dealing with everyday stuff of having a baby, like feeding and putting the kid to bed. Don't back down, OP, or you'll be feeling like a single parent for a long time. It's interesting that you saw on the monitor that once he followed your instructions, it worked, and yet he still kept calling you. Is he aware that you knew the baby was settled when he was harassing you? Or is he trying to say the baby was still awake? He is punishing you for going out, and you need to nip this in the bud now. It is embarrassing that a dad does not know how to put this 7-month-old to bed. He obviously needs much more practice, and you should tell him so. And OP replies, he was saying baby was still restless, which is why I was checking every 15 to 20 minutes again. I don't think he realizes that the phone app works wherever you are as long as you're connected to the internet. I think he thinks it only works if you're close to the camera, which, to be honest, I also thought until I tried to check when all this started. So he was deliberately trying to sabotage your night out and lying to you so you'd go home immediately. Have you told him that you saw everything that really happened on the baby monitor? I just want to jump in and say babies that young should not have a blanket, but a sleep sack that can't end up over their mouth. And OP says, he does have a sleep bag. I just called it a blanket. Definitely no loose items in the cot. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for laughing at my sister's anniversary gift to her husband? My sister Zara and her husband Will recently had their first wedding anniversary and invited some family over for a small anniversary dinner. Long story short, after dessert, Zara said that she had a gift for Will. I thought it was going to be some grand gesture, but then Zara gave him a painting that she did of Will and his late dad. Now, Zara does art as a hobby, and she's a very good artist, and I get the sentimental value of it, but I sort of let out a laugh because it seemed like she was half-assing giving him a painting instead of a proper gift. Me and my boyfriend give nice gifts and splurge on one another, but I didn't say anything because not everyone's the same. Zara noticed though, and asked why I laughed. I tried to play it off. She kept insisting, so I said I thought that it was funny she was half-assing her husband's anniversary gift. She looked hurt. Will says that he loves painting and that I was an idiot. We left after that, but was I wrong for laughing? I literally didn't say anything, and it was Zara who kept insisting. I just can't with this. That is so insulting to say that to someone, man. I can't get over the fact that you half-assed your husband's anniversary gift. Oh, you painted something for him instead of getting him a proper gift? What's wrong with you? OP, your priorities are bang out of whack. I don't know why that's the first thing you went to here. Oh, painting? Must be poor. Terrible gift. You're insulting your husband. Look at these poor idiots that I'm sitting at dinner with. God, I hate my sister so much. Anyway, I think it's obvious I'm going with you're the asshole for this one, OP. You're the asshole. Sounds like a lovely gift. You must be very shallow to consider that half-arsing. Right? It probably took her hours and hours to complete that painting. Not to mention painting equipment is expensive. Have you seen the price of canvases? OP is calling it half-arsed because she likely could never gift anyone a decent painting and therefore finds the skill dumb. Yup, typical brat that cuts others down because she has no creative skills and she knows it. Maybe instead of bullying others, she should get off her ass and learn a new skill. I see it all the time. I do commissions and will gift art for free, and people always call it lazy. Like, okay, how about you paint the same exact thing to the same quality and with the same quality items? Oh, you can't? That's what I thought. And seriously, I never understood why skills get mocked. A skill is a skill. You're the asshole. It was an extremely thoughtful gift that took more effort than simply throwing money at it. Last anniversary, I splurged on nice jewelry for my girlfriend, and she got me a customized painting of us as cartoon characters from one of our favorite shows. I guarantee I spent more, but hers was so much more thoughtful and considered. I'm going to be stepping up next year. A thoughtful, personalized gift is so much more special than throwing money at something. OP is 24 going on 17. My husband spent a month slowly making me a gorgeous custom jewelry box. He didn't tell me until it was closer done so that he could get my opinion on certain things. I wouldn't trade it for anything. He built it with love. Her husband will hang this photo and remember the love that she put into it and remember his dad too. You're the asshole. So she gave him a thoughtful and appropriate gift, paper anniversary, that involved personal effort on her part, and you minimize it? That's mean-spirited of you. I'm glad you and your boyfriend value material goods more than each other. It seems Zara and Will have a good future in front of them. I was scrolling for a while to see if anyone else picked up this as the first anniversary, which is traditionally paper. Your sister gave him a painting, which is paper, so this gift was in keeping with tradition. Like others have said, paintings are not cheap, especially if you paint it yourself. Even if she had just gone out and bought a painting, it still would have been in keeping with tradition. Gifts should not be valued by the store price tag, but by the amount of love and thought that goes into choosing them. Something you apparently have yet to understand. OP, you're the asshole. Our next post is titled, Am I the asshole for storming off from my sister's wedding after she dead-named my son? I'm a 45-year-old single father of 3. Their mother died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old Andrew, 15-year-old Connor, and 14-year-old Max. Connor was born female. He is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago, and has now socially transitioned, not yet physically. My sister, 38 female, just got married. Me and my sons were also invited. My family has known that Connor is trans for 2 years now, and some have adjusted well, some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was really super well organized to the last detail. She wanted all the men to wear shirt and tie, and then women's sundresses. I texted her a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding, and she said, "Where is Nia's dress?" I was a bit surprised, and told her not to dead-name my son, and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of the men there, or we aren't coming. She said fine, and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie, but didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, his card read Nia. I went to my sister, and she said she used their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving, and she told me, "Don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding. Nia can be a guy any other day." I called her a bigot, and we left. My family says I ruined her wedding. And I say she ruined her own wedding. This is not some crazy drama-filled issue that you've brought to her wedding, OP. There obviously were a lot of warning signs before now that you've obviously ignored so that they can have their good day. The happy, fun-filled wedding where we continuously just take jabs at Connor. Woohoo! Congratulations, sister. You're an asshole. But good for you for standing up for your child and your children, OP. I very much respect that, and I say not the asshole. He can be a man any other day? What a ridiculous thing to say. Well, sister theoretically could be an asshole any other day too, yet here we are. Not the asshole. Good on you for standing up to her in support of your son. With an attitude like that, I'm sure the sister will be a bride again before long, so ruining this wedding was no big issue. Not the asshole. Long con idea though, she got married, right? She was Miss Smith, let's say. She's now Mrs. Jones, right? Conveniently forget the Jones and call her Smith. I mean, that's what you've known her as your whole life, so it's hard to change what you've called someone their whole life, even if they prefer that you call them something else. I have a friend that whenever someone pulls the "your birth certificate says male name though," she just says, "Yeah, it also says I'm 7 pounds. Lots changed since then." Not the asshole. I don't quite understand all this transitioning stuff, but it looks to me like you respect your child, and you demanded that your sister respect him also, and she didn't. If anyone created a scene, it was her by putting Nia on the name card. You did the right thing. At that age, it really is as simple as letting the kid control their own appearance and calling them by the name they want to be called, which you'd be a jerk not to do regardless of whether they're cis, trans, or any other factor. Respecting your kid as an individual and listening to them when they tell you who they really are is the core of it. You're right that this is exactly what OP is doing and exactly what his sister is failing to do. Yeah, when people get in a huff about it, I just think about the kid in my 7th grade who didn't want to be called Joey anymore because he thought that it was immature. He wanted to be called Joe. You know what we did? We called him Joe. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. If OP's kid had some silly family nickname that he didn't like anymore and asked the family to call him by something else for the last 2 years, and OP's sister put the old nickname on the seating card at the wedding, she would be the asshole for intentionally ignoring the son's feelings. Same thing here. I know it ends up being a lot more complicated than that for most trans folks because it's not just a name. But even if it was just a name, it's an asshole thing to do for any reason. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for calling my ex at 2 a.m. and asking him to come comfort our daughter and asking him to cancel his vacation? Our daughter got sick while on vacation with her dad a few months ago, and now whenever she's upset, she wants a specific parent to comfort her, and it's impossible to get her to calm down if you're not the parent she wants. A few nights ago, she woke up at 2 a.m. after having a nightmare and wanted her dad. We are separated and don't live together, so I tried to calm her down myself first, but she was getting more and more distressed. Eventually, I caved and called my ex to ask him if he could come over to comfort her. He came over and managed to get her to go back to sleep, but because she was sleeping on him, he didn't want to move in case he woke her up again. He asked me to wake him up by 8 a.m. as he was supposed to be leaving for a vacation with his girlfriend a few hours later. I asked him not to go because I was worried our daughter would want him while he was away. After discussing it, he agreed not to. A few hours after he left, the girlfriend called me as she was upset I had asked him to come over at 2 a.m. and because he cancelled their vacation at the last minute because of me. She told me I was acting like a jealous ex-wife and accused me of using our daughter to control my ex, which isn't true. Am I the asshole? I'm honestly gonna have to go with yes for this one. You were not effectively co-parenting in this situation, and you're enabling a behavior that is obviously detrimental to everyone here. I'm honestly disgusted you would cause your ex to cancel his vacation plans with his girlfriend, not tell her about it, not include her in the discussion, and just all-round guilt this man who didn't need to be guilted. So yeah, I'm gonna go with you're the asshole for this one. Your daughter needs to learn that you and her father can't always be available. Better sooner than later. So yes, for me, you're the asshole. You knew that your ex was going on a vacation with his girlfriend, and you still called him at 2 a.m. You took the easy way out for you, made things more difficult for your ex, and it did not help your daughter to become somewhat more independent. It wouldn't surprise me if the daughter is consciously or subconsciously trying to pull a parent trap to get dad to stay with mom. Right? It's worth OP putting some thought into, especially if she's calling dad every time. Did these issues start right after they broke up? Kids know. My friend's 3-year-old son desperately tries to get his mum to do things she knows he can do. So when we're at the park, he will squeal like he's dying for very minor things. Once he picked up that Mum was ignoring it, he tried a new tactic. He watched a young child get her leg stuck in a ladder. The child was really stuck and in pain, so we all rushed to help the mum out. My friend's son was watching. Moments later, he attempted to recreate the same scenario. His mum ran to him, and when he was released far too easily, Mum realized that she had fallen for a trick. I'm all for giving kids attention. Obviously, my friend's son is working through some emotions, and she's spending extra time with him cuddling and talking. But faking an injury is negative reinforcement, and my friend doesn't want to indulge that. Opie, you're the asshole. You can't call your husband when it's your time to take care of your daughter for mundane things. If your daughter was in the hospital, by all means call your ex. But for sleeping, it's time that you dealt with her. All you are doing by caving in is teaching her that she can have big emotions and not deal with them. Not a healthy lesson at all. Both of you need to learn valuable coping mechanisms. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that she's modeling your behavior. You're the asshole, massively, and you are setting your daughter up for emotional difficulties. It is simply impossible to go through life this way, and she needs to learn that. Her wants will not always be met. And I say wants, not needs, as this comfort was not a necessity. She was safe and cared for by a trusted adult. Additionally, if you're unable to parent yourself, consider parenting classes. You can't expect other adults, regardless of who they are, to pick up your slack ever. You're the asshole. Unexposed is titled, Am I the asshole for making my wife order off the kids menu or share a meal with me? My wife has never been a big eater. That's fine, and I don't have a problem with it. What I do have a problem with is that my wife is somehow also a greedy eater. She always prefers a large variety of foods together at a time, just in smaller portions. At home, this is annoying, but it's manageable. When we go out to eat though, it becomes a nightmare. She will order whatever can get her the most variety of options, ignoring the cost. She will add sides, appetizers, and desserts to her meal, only to eat 1 or 2 bites of each thing she orders. Maybe this would be manageable if she ate leftovers, but she refuses to, so all the food just ends up going to waste. Most of the time, I find myself ordering small meals and eating what remains of her orders just to try and justify it. But I don't like 90% of what she orders and just want to eat my own damn meal. A week ago, I got incredibly annoyed when she ordered herself a full rack of ribs and an appetizer, only to eat like 20% of each. I only ordered a salad so I could finish the rest off, but I hated the sauce that she chose for the ribs, and most of the appetizer went untouched. As we were leaving, I told her that I'm sick of spending $40+ on her alone for food she doesn't end up finishing. I told her that from now on, she can either order 2 things off the kids menu, or we can work out something we both will enjoy and share. She ignored me and thought that I was not serious. Well, last night we went out to a wing place. As we sat down, I asked for a kids menu and she got confused. When we started talking, and I told her that she either needed to order off the kids menu or share with me, she got quiet and refused to talk to me and started saying that I'm insulting and belittling her. We ended up going out into the parking lot and having a fight before she got an Uber home. She's not talking to me now, and this morning I got a call from her dad screaming at me for what I did. I'm having second thoughts now about this. I'm gonna go with no assholes here for this one. I really think it boils down to you guys refuse to communicate with each other. It's obvious you want to extend an olive branch out to her and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's come to a reasonable middle ground for the both of us. But she's refusing to open up to you and take this seriously. I don't think in a situation like this, the right thing to do is make an executive decision and say, hey, you're ordering off the kids menu now if you're not going to order with me. That is aggressive and controlling on your behalf, and that's not what helps fix these situations. Therapy and communication are very much needed in a situation like this. And how about some respect while we're at it? I don't think anyone's an asshole here, I just think you guys have issues that you need to fix. Look for buffets to eat. I'm the same way. I love a variety, but I don't eat much. I always get a salad that has a little of everything, or go to a buffet. Also, I'd say OP needs to sit down, and if they don't split the bill in the future, start making a food budget. For eating out, our meals should cost a maximum of X. Yes, or at the very least, have her pay for her own meal out of her own paycheck. Order what you want, but eat what you order. Whether it be in the restaurant or later at home, that is a waste of money and food. Wasting food like that is a serious pet peeve for me. I'm going with not the arsehole here, but I think your execution of your frustration could have been better. Not the arsehole. I would have taken the leftovers home for her to have the next day and only prepared my own food. Inconveniencing her in private, not public, may work better and won't make you look like an arsehole, even though you did warn her. According to his post, she won't eat leftovers. That's why it's a good consequence to her actions. If she doesn't want the leftovers, she either has to make her own food, which judging from the post is a lot of effort for her, or she orders less food in the future. She's his wife, not his child. It's not his place to discipline her. And yeah, thanks. This is the crux of the everyone sucks here to me. Her habit is super annoying, but the kids menu thing and the mandatory leftovers punishment are both things that you do to a kid under 10. Instead of treating a grown woman like a child, be an adult. Adults make household budgets. If you are no longer willing to pay for her wasteful habits out of your personal fun money or your shared fun money, you can split checks and each pay for your food out of your own fun money. She can spend her money how she likes and it won't affect you. I am worried that my sister has feelings for my girlfriend. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2.5 years and we have a really great relationship. My sister and I have always been close, so I was really happy when she and my girlfriend met and hit it off right away. They get along insanely well, and it's awesome, or was awesome. It might be important to point out that they are both bisexual. Everything was normal up until about 3 months ago. They started hanging out together more often than usual, taking day trips and having sleepovers and going for dinner, etc. I didn't care about it initially. I thought it was cool that the two most important women in my life were such good friends. Then my sister Amy started making comments saying that if we ever broke up, she's first in line to date my girlfriend Emily. She calls Emily her wifey and follows her around like a lost puppy. Amy says that Emily is our girlfriend, and I swear she gets jealous when I interact with her. And then, last week, I got home from work, and as I walked through the door, I could hear them chatting in the living room. This isn't out of the ordinary. It was what I heard that really bothered me. My sister said, "Holy F, I have such a crush on you," in the most lustful voice I have ever heard. I really hated typing that. Emily laughed and their conversation moved on, but it really didn't sit well with me. So later on I asked Emily what they were talking about. I think context is important. And she told me that they went shopping earlier in the day and were doing a little fashion show for each other. She said that those kinds of comments are normal between girlfriends and it's nothing to worry about. It made sense to me and I trust Emily. I decided to talk to Amy. I asked how their shopping spree went, etc., and then gently asked her what the crush comment was about. She got very defensive, and then accused me of being jealous of her relationship with Emily, then told me to grow the hell up. I'm not worried about Emily doing anything behind my back to betray me, and I never have. There's just something about the way my sister is acting that irks me. And I don't know how to approach this without blowing up any of our relationships. This is just another one of those posts where I feel like the more you type and give us context, the more it should be obvious, or maybe pointing towards an obvious conclusion that you don't want to accept or you don't want to be a reality. If I were you, I would interrogate further and get to the bottom of that comment, because I don't feel like that's a normal kind of comment, and Amy's reaction, getting very defensive, telling you to grow the hell up, and Emily's reaction to the news as well, kind of telling. Little bit telling. I don't think that's normal behavior for people that aren't hooking up or have an active interest in each other. So, yeah. Why am I having flashbacks to that one post on Am I the Arsehole about a girl being absolutely mad her boyfriend and her twin brother were actually together all the time and used her as a shield by the boyfriend dating her for years and not telling her? I have a bad feeling, OP. I remember that story. That poor girl dated the guy for like 7 or 9 years before finding out the truth. Imagine that. Broke my heart to read that. and they lived together and had talked about marriage and kids more than once. It was just plain cruel. The other worst part, besides making her an unwitting beard, was the parents making her out to be the bad guy. If we're talking about the same thing, I'm pretty sure it was what was prompting her post. If your sister was a man and doing these same things, including the sleepovers, you would have no doubt what's going on. I would tell both of them this has gone too far and needs to stop. I don't think you want to marry into this situation. Okay, so your girlfriend is enabling your sister. She needs to put down some definite boundaries, otherwise this can turn ugly very quickly. You should really talk to your girlfriend. Sit her down and tell her that you feel uncomfortable with the way they both interact with each other. If she gets defensive, you'll know that something more is going on, and that she probably, most definitely because otherwise she would have already done it, enjoys the attention and compliments. If that happens, I'd advise you to really think through if you really want to stay with someone who is constantly flirting with your sister and will probably end up doing more than just emotionally cheat. However, if she's understanding and changes her behavior, you should only worry about putting some space between you both and your sister. Good luck to you. My guess is she may also need some guidance because it's really hard to know the right approach when you want your significant other's family to like you. They are so young. She may just need more info and a direct yes, set these boundaries and I'll have your back whatever her reaction. It can be an intimidating line to walk. This sub seems to get super intense about telling people to just set boundaries, but if you've never learned, it's a process, and it can be scary. And now, on to the update. There have been some developments. When I got home from work yesterday evening, I found the two of them on the couch in the living room watching a movie. I decided that I should just get it over with, so I sat down in the seat across from them and said that the three of us needed to have a talk. I basically just asked them if something was going on between them and mentioned how much extra time they've been spending together and acting almost like they're dating. My sister immediately started sobbing and Emily just looked really sad. Amy couldn't speak through her tears, so Emily filled me in. Turns out, Amy has been going through a really bad breakup and not taking it well. Amy's boyfriend cheated on her with multiple women and gave her an STD. I guess it ended in a big blowout, and he trashed her place and threw her around. 3 months ago, Emily noticed that something was wrong and asked her what was up while they were out for lunch. Amy couldn't hold back and spilled all that happened to Emily and then begged her not to tell me anything until she decided what she wanted to do. Emily started staying over at her place for a few reasons. Helping her fix up her home, support, etc., and then Amy found out that she's pregnant with this asshole's baby and her mental health plummeted. Their extra hangouts were mostly to do with preparing for this new baby/pregnancy, including the fashion show, which was maternity wear for both of them. What I was perceiving as jealousy from Amy was actually a longing/envy of the solid relationship that Emily and I have, not an actual crush on Emily. The crush comment and wifey nickname were literally just girly comments in their words. Amy was reactive to my questioning because she was so deeply betrayed by this guy, and being accused of doing that was very hurtful. I didn't even know that Amy was dating anybody. It seems the asshole has just left the province, and Amy doesn't want to pursue anything legally. She just wants to move on and be happy. They are 6 weeks apart, and were planning on telling me about the matching pregnancies this coming weekend. So in short, Amy and Emily are best friends. I'm going to be an uncle, and then a father, and I get Brother of the Year award for not noticing that anything was going on with her. You have no reason to blame yourself. She didn't tell you she had a boyfriend, so how could you know that she was being abused? Especially since she was spending so much time with Emily. You didn't notice because there was no way you could have known that it was happening, and you handled everything exactly as you should have. You stayed calm, talked with them and listened. You didn't blow up at them. You didn't throw accusations. You listened and talked. Good job, and congrats on becoming a dad and an uncle. Also, you might want to hire a private investigator to hunt down the boyfriend. Even if she doesn't want to press charges, he should definitely be forced to pay child support. I don't think OP was wrong for his reaction. He received no information, noticed a significant change in how both were acting and talking, and did the appropriate thing of talking about it. Exactly. Although his sister's reaction that the brother had to just grow up still doesn't sit well with me given all context. I actually couldn't keep the name straight and thought Amy was his girlfriend, in which case I was shocked by the grow the F up comment. But when I realized Amy is his sister, then it seems a bit more okay. Siblings tend to be a bit immature with one another. It wasn't a good or helpful reaction from Amy, but less suspicious, a sibling just shutting down a conversation they don't want to have. It is bizarre that so many people are blazing past the part where the baby was conceived in an abusive relationship. Leaving one not pregnant is hard enough, let alone leaving one and then finding out you're pregnant. I imagine she wasn't telling people either because she was scared of what they'd think or just didn't want the judgment to be cast onto her. Not to mention how she's still likely processing her relationship and what went on in it. Pregnant from an abusive POS who's also infected her with an undisclosed STD, probably discovered during standard STD screening due to the pregnancy. I think it's because OP came for help regarding his relationship, not the sister's. I agree that her situation regards its own level of care, but to involve one member of a relationship while keeping the other completely in the dark is kind of asking for trouble. OP doesn't sound like an unreasonable person, he was just working with zero communication from the people he referred to as the most important women in his life. I'm sure if they just mentioned sister was going through a breakup, he wouldn't have gone worst case scenario like he did. At first, I was also on the how could she tell her friend/sister-in-law before her partner train, but then I remembered my sister figured out that I was pregnant before I did, and I was trying. It absolutely makes sense for a recently pregnant person to recognize the signs of early pregnancy and convince their friends to take a pregnancy test. Of course, the newly pregnant person takes it with their friend nearby instead of their significant other. They expect it to be negative anyway. In my case, I told my husband of my sister's suspicion that evening. The next day, my sister bought me a pregnancy test, but I waited until I was home with my husband to take it. She was so cocky when I told her that it was positive. Our next post is titled, My 29 female, husband, 31 male, got a paternity test on our daughter, 5 female, and it came back negative. But I never cheated. Now he thinks our relationship is a lie and I want to divorce. What do I do? I don't know how it happened and I haven't been able to stop crying all day. I never cheated. I love my husband and we've been together since college and he's the love of my life. He's handsome and kind, and all while I've slept with 2 other people, both were before we got together. There is no other potential father for our daughter. We were married already and actively trying for a baby. I never cheated, I never would cheat, and I don't know why he took that stupid test, because I would never ever cheat. But it came back negative, and now he thinks he's not her dad. I don't know how to convince him that it was a faulty test, and I'm so scared. These past few months, it's like he's become someone completely different from the man that I married. He is cold and suspicious. He kept demanding to see my phone and wouldn't tell me why. And I showed him at first, but eventually told him that I wouldn't anymore unless he explained why. He's been distant with our daughter too. He stays in his office for hours on end, and I don't know what he's doing. I did not cheat. He accused me this morning, saying he'd done the test after realizing that our daughter's eyes, brown, wouldn't naturally come from both of ours, both blue, and that he wanted me to get out of the house. I didn't leave, and he locked me out of our bedroom, and now I'm in our daughter's room. This is terrifying. What should I do? Edit. The specific advice I want is how I can prove I'm innocent and to make sure this relationship works. I want to keep my family together at all costs. Also, I just had a conversation with my husband. He's out of his room now, and we discussed some things. I told him again that I would never cheat, and started talking about a list I made of tests I want done, but he told me that he didn't want to hear it right now. We're going to have a longer conversation tomorrow, and he said that he still loves our daughter, and that he won't try to keep me out of the house or our room for now. I asked him to hug me, and he did. I'm scared that I won't be able to convince him. I just want our family to go back to normal. How can I be a good wife and support his needs while proving my innocence? Get DNA for all 3 of you in case the hospital switched babies. Make sure she is yours as well. That sounds crazy, but it could happen. Use a different reputable company and do not tell them anything. It's also possible that the father could have chimerism, meaning that he could have different DNA in his sperm cells than he does in the rest of his body. Rare, but possible. This was my first thought. I remember a story about a mum who didn't match her own kids that she gave birth to. It turns out she was a chimera, and her blood DNA was basically a different person from her egg's DNA. Did you actually see the results? Or is this just what your husband is stating? Came back negative is such a weird way to state the result of a paternity test. I'm not saying one way or the other on the actual test, but negative on a match sounds correct. What other wording would be used? Paternity tests use percentage to determine a match. Either A, he is lying and possibly faking the test results, most likely because he's cheating and or trying to leave you, B, you're lying, or C, the test results were mixed up, or there was a serious error somewhere. Exactly. Stop looking for approval and forgiveness from your husband when there is a very real chance he is making this up. Stop freaking out, keep calm. Go get a test done ASAP on all of you. Stop trying to hang on tighter to your hubby. You need to focus on yourself and your child. While you're focused on him, he may be actively screwing you. You didn't cheat. Either she isn't your kid or he is lying. Do not look to him, just get the test. And now, onto the update. Hi everyone. First off, I wanted to thank everyone who reached out. My original post got so much attention, it was hard to get everything, but I ended up making a list of plans and tests that I wanted to get done. My husband was, understandably, distrustful of me for a while, but he apologized for the way he acted, which I didn't need, and said that he wouldn't try to kick me out of our home. He did say, though, that if every test came back and I'd cheated, then he was going to go scorched earth. We did a few tests, blood paternity tests for him and me and our daughter, and we had an appointment with a chimerism specialist coming up, but that got cancelled because, well, some of you guessed it, but my daughter is not biologically mine either. I don't know how this happened, but a police officer came to our house and took our statements. We are suing the hospital where I gave birth. I don't know what happened to my baby, and that is terrifying. I have my husband back, but my whole world was still upended, and I just wish that he had never taken that stupid test. I've been sleeping in my daughter's room, and I'm so afraid that she's going to be taken away from me. But at the same time, I want to know where my biological daughter is, and if she's okay. I pray to God that she's okay. My daughter still doesn't know the details, and we've been trying to keep this quiet. The last thing we need is a big scandal. I don't want people who know us to look at her differently. She deserves better than that. She is such a good kid, and she's not some spectacle to be gawked at. If we can find her birth family, I have no idea what we'll do. I guess the best case scenario would be to get a bigger house and all live together, but I don't know if we can afford that, or if they would go for that, or even if we'll be able to locate them, or if I'm just crazy. This whole situation is crazy. I don't know anyone else who's been in a situation like this. I mean, are there support groups for parents of kids who got mixed up? I googled and nothing came up. Literally, all I'm getting are tabloid articles from trashy magazines that slap the faces of innocent kids on the same pages as celebrity sex scandals and fiction. How do we tell our daughter? I mean, we can't tell her now. She'll tell the kids at school, and then it'll be everywhere. But we have to say something. I don't know what I ever did to deserve this. What the hell? This is not the update I expected. Not in a million years. I was betting on Chimera, but switched at birth blindsided me. What a nightmare. Love the child you have, but need to know where your biological baby is. At the same time, there is another family with a ticking time bomb that they don't even know about. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. When we left the hospital after the birth of our last child, I opened the envelope containing the picture of our kid they put in the bassinet to help identify the baby, and I noticed she looked a bit darker skinned in the pic than in real life, but chalked it up to bad lighting and my extreme exhaustion. About an hour later, we got a call from the hospital that they had mixed up the pics with someone's Indian baby. Husband went back to the hospital to exchange pics and joked that we had at least gotten the right baby. Right? Usually in these situations, the children don't switch families, but the families come together with frequent visits. Sounds like a nightmare. All the best for you. And OP replies, that would be alright. I just hope I like the other family. You should get the hospital to contact all the families that have birth at the same time and have them run DNA tests. The hospital won't do that. It would draw too much attention, and OP doesn't want a public scandal either. Oh my god, this is like out of a bad movie. I'm so sorry, OP, for all the parties involved. I can't even begin to imagine the emotional upheaval that your family is going through. And OP replies, I know. That's why I don't want this getting out. My daughter doesn't need some slimeball paparazzi's cameras on her. It's already hellish enough. I wouldn't breathe a word of this to anyone, which it sounds like you are doing. I would, however, hire a good lawyer. The unknown is scary. Having a lawyer to talk to and to help you navigate this very murky grey space will be money well spent, as will a psychologist. You may not be ready to bring your daughter up to speed, but you need a safe place for you and your husband to unpack the rollercoaster of emotions that you two have been through. I hope this has a happy ending for you, although I have no idea what that would look like. Good luck. And OP replies, I'm not saying anything. It's all just happened, and we're trying to figure out where to go from here. Best case scenario, in my head, would be moving in with the other family and raising both girls together, but that probably is not an option. Alright, and this next story doesn't have an update, but I saw it on Twitter and I feel like I just really wanted to cover it on the channel. So this one's titled, My partner didn't inform me he's having unprotected sex with someone else. I've been seeing this guy for a few months, and recently started having sex with him. He's polyamorous, as am I, and has been open and honest with that, and is married, but currently has no other partners. He has briefly described loving his wife and having a strong family dynamic, but they'd be broken up if they didn't have kids. He's been open about his previous relationships, and his wife knows everything. According to him, I'm his only other partner. When we had sex, he had a condom on, and I asked him to remove it in the midst of it. Yes, he finished inside as well. I did that with the knowledge I'm the only person he's currently having sex with, as I stupidly assumed, based on the dynamic he has with his wife. I asked, and he said he's sexually active with her, and doesn't see the issue. He's STD-free and has a vasectomy, and I should have asked beforehand, but now I feel kind of off about the whole thing. Am I being dramatic? Oh yeah, he would leave if not for the kids. Damn, if only those pesky kids weren't the glue that was holding this marriage together. I'd have up and left my wife 10 years ago, but unfortunately I cannot. I'm very sorry. Let's continue this relationship. This one has the situational awareness level of a dead chicken. This is why married people shouldn't have sex with each other. There's too many problems that ensue. Like, who marries for sex anyway? That's such an old concept. So, you're screwing and seeing someone who is poly, but would leave his wife. So clearly, she's been bulldozed into this dynamic. He didn't tell you that he's actively having unprotected sex with her, lying by omission, and he has a strong bond and love for his family, but wouldn't be with his wife if they didn't have kids. Have you spoken to his wife? Do you know he's in an open relationship? Or are you the side chick that he's keeping secret and lying, telling you he's open? This man alluded to a dead bedroom, but then drops the bomb that it isn't. I'd run. Weird to me that you think he'd raw dog you and not his wife? OP replies, he was making hints at having a dead bedroom for years. According to him, I'm his only other partner. That right there sounds pretty clear that he might be sleeping with his wife too. They would have broken up if they didn't have kids. Doesn't mean they might not ever want to have sex. I'm sorry, you assumed this man was not having sex with his primary partner, his wife, who he is married to, and now you're mad and putting him on blast for having sex with his wife, who he is married to. And OP replies, he hinted at a dead bedroom for years. Despite that, he could be having sex with 5 other people, and I don't care unless it's protected. Not putting him on blast, I've not insulted him in any way, I'm just confused about how to feel about the situation. Why do you trust this man who lied by omission? Why do you trust that he's only having sex with you and his wife? Why'd he get an STD panel if he's only having sex with you? Things aren't adding up on his end. My husband and I are in disagreement, in desperate need for different opinions. Good afternoon. For context, I am 34, my husband is 37. He has a brother, Brad, who is 25, and Brad dated Kelsey, 24, for 10 years. They began dating when they were freshmen in high school. Their first date was actually my wedding. They were engaged for 2 years before Kelsey found out that Brad had cheated on her multiple times the year before and was still in contact and sending lewd texts to the woman that he cheated on her with. This all came out about 4 weeks ago. The entire family was devastated and furious with Brad, who told Kelsey she could have the apartment and moved in with a friend over an hour and a half away. I think he just wanted to be far away from everything. It was weird because Kelsey was a part of the family for so long, it was hard to just turn that off, and obviously we didn't. She's going through a really traumatic time and needs support. Even so, I think it does reach a point where the family has to separate from her, since the only connecting thing, Kelsey and Brad's relationship, is now gone. My husband, however, seems to think that since he's regarded Kelsey as a little sister for so long, she should be treated as such. I come home multiple times a week to her over at the house. When I ask my husband about it, he says he'll text her and ask how she's feeling, and if she says she's feeling down, he'll invite her over to cheer her up. A few nights ago, she was over, and while I was putting the kids to bed, my husband offered her a drink, and they began drinking downstairs at the bar in our den. I had a medical procedure the next morning. Nothing that was a big deal, but something I was supposed to be up and out early for. I didn't need my husband to come with me or anything, but I had mentioned that I would have liked if he would. He ended up offering the guest room to Kelsey, who was up and out early, and then slept in until an hour and a half after I had come home. He has TikTok and just follows her, and a few other big accounts, but she's the only one that he follows personally. The one thing I thought that he did that I thought way overstepped, and what prompted me to have a conversation with him, is that the family is going on a 2-week vacation to Belize. The house is owned by my in-laws, so we go there often, and Kelsey has come many times. My husband invited her to come to this trip as well, which I think is odd since she's no longer dating Brad, who isn't coming on the vacation. When I had the conversation with my husband about how I thought that he was crossing some boundaries with Kelsey, he got very defensive and said that I was being heartless for wanting to just write Kelsey off. I tried to explain to him that I wasn't trying to write her off, but since she no longer had ties to the family, why would she come? If she began dating someone tomorrow, would we let her bring her new partner? My husband and I have 2 very opposing standpoints here, and I'm trying to come up with a way to compromise. And edit, in no way do I mean cut her off. I think our family should show her that we support and are here for her. However, I think there are boundaries, like drinking together at night, causing him to miss my procedure, inviting her to vacation, being crossed. Also, to everyone who seems to have an issue with me thinking she will need to be distanced from the family, how do you think my brother-in-law and any other future partners of his will feel about her joining in on family vacations? Again, I think she is a lovely girl, and I will enjoy remaining on friendly terms with her. Honestly, I do think this is a very weird situation on your husband's behalf. He's insisting to spend so much time with her and around her. This doesn't seem like a friend's situation. To me, it's coming off as too many red flags to discount, and I would look into this further if you can, OP. Wishing you all the best on this one. The closeness is weird to me too, especially staying up late drinking and her staying over. But even more to the point, keeping Kelsey this close doesn't help Kelsey either. She is hurting, yes, but spending more time with her ex's family isn't going to help her through the emotional tear of the breakup. It just keeps her mentally and emotionally invested in a family that isn't hers. You don't have to be mean to her, but you don't bring her on vacations either. Okay, there is room for compromise. No one needs to boot Kelsey out of the family that she's already been a part of for 10 years. However, your husband does need to make you and the kids a priority. So there is no reason for Kelsey not to be included in things, but when you tell your husband you need him to be available for things like your medical procedure, then he needs to be there. He's giving too much personal, emotional support, having her over constantly without asking his wife, prioritizing hanging with her over his family. Like, yes, she's going through a hard time, but has he considered that maybe Kelsey will eventually want or need distance from this family if Brad is going to be staying in contact? Making themselves her primary source of emotional support instead of her own friends or family is dangerous, and now she is trapped near Brad when she should be using this opportunity to find new things. What are they going to do when she dates and maybe marries someone else? Are they going to forever assert they have family? Are they willing to eventually have to pick between Kelsey and Brad? Kelsey deserves better than a family that is strongly split between her and someone who cheated on her. Family support is fine. Texts and being in her corner is fine, but she is not his little sister, and this incident seems to have increased husband's relationship with Kelsey. It should remain the same amount of support as it was. No more home visits, but coming along on family vacation and group meals sounds fine to me. 36 male here. The simple fact of the matter is that your husband is prioritizing her needs over yours at this stage, which is not acceptable and insensitive, as it's clear that you feel uncomfortable. Everything else is really background noise in my opinion. The main thing that doesn't sit right with me, and leads me on to a suspicion though, your husband seems capable of seeing how upset and in need of support Kelsey is, and unable to see that this puts his wife in an uncomfortable position, and is willing to just F that off as your issue. I'm sorry, but screw that. My suspicion is that he has developed some feelings for her, but rather than cauterizing contact, he's happy to continue it under the guise of support of a longtime family friend that is like a sister. Intervention is needed. And now onto the update. I'm going to make this short. I'm updating because of all the messages that I got asking me for one. Like I stated many times in my last post, though a number of people were still attacking me as though I wanted to banish her from speaking to any of us, I thought Kelsey was a lovely girl and I didn't want to completely cut her off, just establish appropriate boundaries. My mother-in-law found out my husband invited Kelsey. Normally this wouldn't be an issue since the house is large enough to accommodate several more people, and to be fair, this wouldn't be the first time someone invited someone on behalf of the family. But the issue was my mother-in-law had been speaking to Brad, my brother-in-law, and trying to convince him to come, and he eventually caved and said he would come. So my mother-in-law flat out said that Kelsey can't come. Why would she even want to? It would be too weird for her or Brad. So my husband came home and told me all of this, and then tells me conveniently that he's going to have to come to Belize a week later because of work. He would meet me and the kids there. I'm not going to get into details because it got really personal, but it wasn't hard to find out that that was a lie, and he was planning on hanging out with Kelsey for those days. This lie was the last straw, so I asked to see his phone. I looked through all his messages on socials, and I found a number of flirty texts with Kelsey, as well as some photos that weren't nudes or anything, but definitely suggestive. He said he hadn't realized how quickly things got out of hand, and that he never would have physically cheated. I don't believe that he hasn't already. I'm not really one for second chances, so I can't see this going much further, although I'm not making any permanently rash decisions until I've had time to clear my head and get everything in order. He said he hadn't realized how quickly things got out of hand, and that he never would have physically cheated. Eye roll. He may be deleting the hardcore messages. No guy will ditch his entire family and vacation for some random if he ain't getting something in return. So if they didn't do sexual stuff yet, it is likely that was the plan. But even if he didn't, that is completely out of line and was very obvious since yesterday. I'm sorry, OP. He and Kelsey are crap. An affair with her ex's brother would be the perfect revenge, right? Definitely. Messages were deleted, that's what I thought. Chances are they did get down to business, since the husband was so quick to take her in and be there for her. Lol. I love how he thought inviting his side piece on a family trip would just go swimmingly. Oh yeah, she can't come. I suddenly need to work that first week. No one will ever know. Your husband and his brother are from the same cloth. Part of me wonders if Kelsey isn't deliberately trying to get back at Brad by getting involved with his brother, but the husband seems to be all too willing. All of this seems to be happening really fast. She could also be doing it as a revenge for her ex cheating on her, so she wants to screw his brother. If I were you, I'd start divorce proceedings right now. He has known this girl since she was 14. Blow this crap up. They don't deserve to be protected. Good luck, OP. The fact that 1, this 37-year-old married man is even flirting with a 24-year-old is icky, and 2, the fact that 24-year-old is his little brother's very recent ex-girlfriend of 10 years is just beyond all icky comprehension. He's known her since she was 14 and he was 27. I'm sorry, that's just gross. And he tried to so obviously lie in order to skip out on a family vacation for a week and just to supposedly sit next to her. He's either dumb as rocks or really just doesn't care about his marriage or relationship with his brother or anything other than his own dick, really. Your husband sounds immature and downright creepy. I'm sorry that you're even having to go through this, as you sound very mature and kind-hearted, but you'd be better off without someone like this in your life. Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for dropping off 2 drunk, rude girls at the bus stop instead of driving them home? My boyfriend's best friend's girlfriend is always really rude to me. She wanted to hook up my boyfriend with one of her friends, so when I arrived into the picture, she decides she hates my guts for ruining her friend's chance for a great relationship. I was still trying to be nice if we had to hang out because of our boyfriends, but I preferred to avoid her, since she would always make a point to talk crap about my appearance, personality, fashion sense, work, etc. My boyfriend and his friend went to a festival together. I was supposed to pick them up after because they were drinking. I arrived at the parking lot at 3 a.m. to see my boyfriend, his friend's girlfriend, and her friend. Yes, the one she wanted to hook up with my boyfriend. I was surprised, but before I could ask about it, they get into the car. Few minutes pass until the girlfriend's friend asked if I'm the B word that stole her love, which spiraled into them going into a rant about everything that is wrong with me in their eyes, including how my boyfriend could do better. I told them that they are quite brave, considering the state they're in, which is completely wasted, since I am driving them home and I can decide to just drop them off if they continue. They dared me to do so, so I did. I pulled up to the nearest bus stop, told them to get out, and they thought that I was joking until they saw me turning off the engine. In the end, my boyfriend got annoyed, since he wasn't feeling well and wanted to go home. So he screamed at them to get out, or he will drag them out of my car himself. His best friend tried to protest, but my boyfriend, in his drunk state, told him that it's my car, so he's not one to decide, and if he has a problem, then he can wait for the bus with his girl and her friend, or take an Uber. My boyfriend, after waking up sober and remembering what happened, called me an asshole for kicking out 2 drunk girls out of my car in the middle of the night. I reminded him that his friend stayed with them, but it only angered him more for some reason. I was told that the girls were drunk, so I shouldn't have taken to heart what they were saying, and that by dropping them off at the bus stop, I've put them in unnecessary danger. He has been going on about it for the past few hours, to the point where I don't know if I really did a bad thing and should apologize. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I think I might be an asshole because the girls, even though very rude, were drunk and it was past 3 a.m. when I dropped them off at the bus stop. I understand that they were drunk in this situation, but they genuinely did ask for it, so you just gave them what they wanted to, and also considering all the background we've been given on these people, I do think they deserved to be kicked out of the car. You did them a massive favor by going to pick them up and take them home, and they continue to spit in your face. It's not like you abandoned just one by themselves either, there were 3 of them, and they can look after themselves. I don't know why your boyfriend is turning this completely on you. He was part of the reason they got kicked out as well. He's the one that told them to leave. Anyway, I'm gonna go with you're not the asshole in this one. I think everyone else is. Not the asshole. Is your boyfriend insane? You were being verbally abused, and not for the first time, by this girl while he sat and did nothing. You didn't drop them off in the middle of nowhere. They were at a bus stop with your boyfriend's best friend. I'd be more concerned with the fact that he doesn't see an issue with the way you've been treated. You did the right, nice thing. You should have kicked your boyfriend out at the same time. How about the other issue? That he basically went on a double date with these people who have no respect for his partner and didn't tell her the girls would be there. That's what I was thinking. I mean, damn, he was on what amounted to a double date. The fact the girl first said, "Are you that beer that stole my love?" and then the boyfriend yelled at them to get out, makes me think that the girl brought her friend and he probably didn't know. I think the friend of the girlfriend would have been more self-satisfied and less angry if he had responded to her. However, that doesn't give him a free pass to yell at her the next day, although leaving 3 drunks alone at night isn't the best idea. But neither is insulting your ride. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You picked your boyfriend up from his double date. You had never agreed to give those girls a ride, and everyone in the car was an asshole to you. Dump the guy and let the other girl have him. Thank you. I'm sitting here reading this and thinking, what the actual F? Dump his ass, OP. You were not the asshole. Might have been an ambush. They go out to the festival, start drinking, and the girlfriend and her friend show up. The fact that they were freaking bitter in the car about OP stealing him indicates to me that their plan didn't work. He's still the asshole for berating OP the next morning. And now on to the update. Well, I have an update, but first I want to answer some of the questions that were asked a lot. At first, I wanted to respond to each and every comment, but before I realized my OG post blew up, so I decided to address everything here. Did you know your boyfriend went on a double date? No. It was supposed to be him and his best friend, which I have my doubts about, because the festival was ticketed and the tickets were sold out in a matter of days. I'm sure at least her boyfriend knew she was going. Was the bus stop in the middle of nowhere? No, it was in a city centre, near the festival site, and there were many other festival goers waiting. Were the buses still running? Yes. Our city has been hosting this festival for years now, and they are always taking care of festival goers. There are additional night buses, trams, and even train lines. What if someone shot my boyfriend's best friend? I'm really sorry for what's happening in the USA, but we're living in Poland, in Europe. Now to the update. I know why my boyfriend was so adamant about me apologizing. Apparently, his best friend's girlfriend and her friend decided that I need to be taught a lesson. I'm not really sure what they were planning to do, but they decided to scare me somehow, as a form of revenge. My boyfriend decided that it would be a great idea for me to apologize so that they would calm down, instead of, telling me? When asked why he would withhold this information from me, he said that he didn't want drama. As if there's not enough drama already with this psycho. He told me all of this because his best friend broke up with her in the end over her craziness. So my boyfriend deemed it appropriate to tell me that I no longer have to apologize. I contacted his best friend, asking if he would be willing to tell me what he knows about his ex and her plans to authorities, if she would ever come through with her plan to teach me a lesson, and he agreed. My boyfriend, on the other hand, was furious that I contacted his best friend because he doesn't want drama. I was feeling petty, so I told him that maybe I should just go out with his best friend since he seems more level-headed and caring. And that's when I learned that his best friend's ex thought her boyfriend, my boyfriend's best friend, was attracted to me. So her outbursts of anger were justified by her insecurities. When asked why he's so keen on victimizing her, he wasn't able to answer and shut down completely. Needless to say, we are taking a break. It's hard to break up completely because we're living together, and we are both on the lease. I'm pretty sure it's not the kind of update a lot of people commenting under my previous post were hoping for, but I'm really not sure what to do. I'm sorry, OP. He probably was just covering his own tracks of being into her. And OP replies, yeah, I think so too. Why bring up her ex-relationship insecurities now to justify her actions towards me? It's weird. Just like his overall reaction to me contacting his best friend. Seemed like projection. It's sus that your boy is more defensive for her sake than yours, and his own rather than your safety. I'm sorry that you're stuck in a lease with him. I was stuck in a lease with my ex for a whole year, and it was not a fun time. Wow, the boyfriend really sucks. I get wanting to de-escalate a situation, but him withholding that the psycho wanted to get even? That's when he stopped being a partner and became just a guy she was living with. You don't withhold crap like that from your partner who you want to protect. What's the bet he got with her, and they were threatening to tell OP? Winner winner, chicken dinner. The girls deserve to be dropped off at that bus stop. I think the boyfriend did as well. Imagine getting your girlfriend to pick you up from a double date. I mean, come on. He went with his friend. He had to know that he was bringing his girlfriend and this chick. It all just sounds so high school, so petty and bitchy. Is it coincidence that the person who says they hate drama always ends up being the one stirring it up? It's also the person that absolutely wants you to eat crap so that they are not inconvenienced in any way, that their social circle isn't rocked, that they never have to mature into grown-up emotions like empathy, compassion, mutual respect, and reciprocity. My husband's sister moved into our home for a temporary amount of time, but now refuses to leave. To give some context beforehand, when my husband and I were building our new build, the house we currently own and reside in, we had to stay with my in-laws. They were nice enough to ease that bit of financial burden on us while our house was being built. During the time there, my husband's sister, 22, was living there with her 2 kids and 1 baby on the way. Well, least to say, I hated living there, especially around her. She's messy, dirty, doesn't pick up after herself or her kids, doesn't clean around the home, doesn't contribute to any of the household income, nothing. She's never had a job and doesn't even know how to drive, so for obvious reasons, she doesn't have an income. Fast forward to my husband and I living in our new 5-bedroom home. His sister ended up moving in with her baby daddy. We thought that they were doing fine until she came crying to us, literally knocking at our doorstep in the middle of the night, saying the baby daddy kicked her out because he's tired of her. I felt so bad for her that we let her stay at our place. I asked her what happened, and she said that he's done. So her baby daddy and I aren't the closest, but I did ask him if everything was okay, just because she has a tendency to lie sometimes. Baby daddy said that he was tired of coming home to a dirty home, to eat fast food all the time because she doesn't know how to cook, to having their sons constantly sick because all they eat is ramen and fast food. He's tired of it. He told me that he shouldn't have to work 12-hour days and come home to a mess, nothing cooked, etc. Before she moved in with baby daddy, I encouraged my husband's sister to learn how to cook. That I could teach her, but she declined. It's been 2 months now since we let her stay at our house. Luckily, it's big enough, but she doesn't pull her weight around the home. I'm tired of waking up to screaming kids while I'm currently pregnant myself. I'm tired of seeing the living room a mess while she sleeps late until 1 p.m. I'm tired of her freeloading off of our stuff. I refuse to cook more than I have to. I let her figure it out herself. My husband buys her food or fast food, but I told him not to do that. I told him it's not our or his responsibility to have to be providing for the babies either. The babies I'll give a snack to. I'll make sure they're eating right, but it's still not my responsibility. I told my husband that I was tired of it, and he said there was nothing he can do because that's his sister. I told him that she could go live with either one of his parents since they're divorced. She has plenty of options and family, but she says she doesn't want to be a handful for them because of the kids. Well, frankly, she's a handful for me too. In one instance, there was a handful of dirty dishes that had been stacking up for the day while my husband and I worked. They were all from her and the babies. I was so mad, I washed them all, and she asked if I was nesting. Some of our family members came unexpectedly, and in front of them all, I said, "No, I'm not nesting. I'm cleaning up the dirty dishes you've let yourself accumulate and not even care to wash." She gave me the dirtiest of looks. I told my husband to talk about her leaving, and she won't leave. She just won't. I told him it's either me and the family he has decided to create with me, or his sister. I told him that until she's out of this house, I will be leaving and I won't be coming back. It's began to take such a toll on my marriage with my husband, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure what to do anymore. How do I make her leave my home? How do I make my husband understand that I don't want her here? She is not my responsibility. You know, it's your home as well. You're within your right to kick her out. You can either leave it in the hands of your husband, who doesn't seem willing to do much about it, or go to your sister-in-law yourself and tell her that she has 30 days to find a new place, while telling your husband that if she isn't gone by then, you'll be the one leaving. If she has the tiniest bit of common sense, she would rather leave than destroy her brother's marriage. I hope. I can't believe she has children while still being such a child herself. You have done what has been needed. You set a guideline for your husband. Now it's up to him to be a limp dick or not. His responsibilities are to you. He married you, has begun a family with you. His sister is messing with this relationship, and he needs to fix this before he tries to help his sister. Now you have to back up what you have said. If you don't, you will lose all credibility when making future threats. Tell him your time limit. Once crossed, be gone. No exceptions. Doesn't matter if you know damn well she's gone in one more week, leave. Congrats on the baby. I do hope your husband prioritizes his family first soon here. And OP replies, I will talk to him about setting a limit and trying to have that be the pressure of him needing to get her out of here. I don't want to be the one always forcing the issue down his throat. I hope he'll be conscious enough to have that at the back of his head so he can be proactive about the situation. I've been married 20 years now, but I went through almost this exact same scenario when my husband and I first married and we bought our first house. Husband's sister and her 2 toddler-age kids needed a place to stay while they sold their house and looked for a new one out of state. She moved into our new house the same day we did. It was supposed to be only a couple of months, but that turned into 3, then 4, and the next thing I know, 6 months had passed and no progress had been made. All similar problems to what you are facing now. I finally woke up one morning and told my husband that I was going to work that day, and when I got home, I wanted an exact date of when his sister will be out of the house. If I didn't have it, I was going to be packed up and moved out by the end of the week. When I got home, he gave me a date, and she and the kids were gone within a couple of weeks. Put your foot down. Don't just threaten or give him a guideline. Ask for specific dates, time, and details so that no one is confused or unclear about what is going to happen. Also, it is his sister. He needs to run interference. It is not your job to do that. And if you piss your in-laws off, too bad. One less problem you need to deal with while you have a new baby. And now, onto the update. First off, thank you all for the advice and suggestions. I sat down with a lawyer and talked about if it's possible for the sister to be considered a tenant, and if so, can we charge rent? Well, luckily, in my state, my sister-in-law isn't considered a tenant, so I would not have to charge rent. I also wouldn't have to serve her with any type of tenant eviction, as there is no binding contract. Because of this, I have obtained a notarized letter that is allowing her 30 days to pick up her things and leave. I'm being courteous enough to give her that much time. I've decided to do this before sitting down and speaking to my husband about the issue. After I obtained the notarized letter, I spoke with my husband. I told him about how I feel like my home looks like a mess, how I shouldn't be the one taking care of his sister and children, being pregnant, and how she should be responsible enough to be able to take care of herself. We both agreed to sit down with her and talk to her. The next day, as we sat down and talked with her after we got home from running some errands, I let him talk. I let him tell her that she was no longer welcome in our home. He told her the reasons, like being a slob, not picking up after her children, not contributing to our household in any way, and making my pregnancy a living hell. I realized how it sort of painted him to have to tell her that, but it's something that she needed to know. While having this discussion, she retaliated and said that she was being attacked and wouldn't leave because she didn't have elsewhere to go. I told her she did. She could go to my in-laws, other family members, but inside my home to live in, she was no longer welcome. She made the smart-ass comment of saying, "You're going to toss me out in the middle of a pandemic?" And I said yes I am. I told her that she has people to go and live with, that my home wasn't her new nesting ground, and that she should have thought about the comment that she just made when her baby daddy kicked her out. I pulled out the eviction notice and told her she has 30 days to get her crap together, or else I'm going to be calling the cops to have her removed from my home. My husband wasn't too proud of it, and was mad that I would actually serve her with a notice. I told him right in front of my sister-in-law that if she doesn't leave in 30 days, that I will, and he will not be allowed to see me or the baby until she's out of the house. I told him I didn't bust my ass working so she can enjoy the luxuries and commodities that I've been working so hard to enjoy myself. She won't have her own room at my in-laws? Oh well. Go get some job experience and get an apartment. Can't get your baby daddy to stay with you because you can't seem to learn how to cook or clean, or have a basic sense of maintaining a household? Should have thought of that before opening your legs and deciding to get pregnant again with a third child. All in all, she's been served with an eviction notice, and I've packed my bags in case she doesn't leave. I've taken a picture of my valuable items in my home and pictures of her current living situation. Dirty rooms, the mess she leaves laying around for days, the kids not being fed a proper meal, everything. My lawyer has recommended that if she does not leave, and my husband decides to have her stay, then he would be responsible and I should consider filing for divorce. I set my foot down and I listened to you all. Thank you again for your comments and supportive advice. I will keep you updated as the situation progresses. Good for you for having the gumption, strength, and courage to stand up for yourself, plus having the wherewithal to get the eviction notice done and the photos taken. I'll be interested in the update. Very proud of you. Stay strong. I hope your husband makes the right decision and stands with you at the 30-day mark. To be honest, she should count her lucky stars you were being reasonable enough to give her 30 days notice. If this was me, and she disrespected my house and me like that, she'd be out. Pandemic or no pandemic. Your husband should support your decision, as you were doing it for both you and your child. Thank you for having the courage to stand up, and not just sit and take it. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we are all rooting for you, and I'll keep looking out for the 30-day update. Stay strong. And now on to the last and final update. So after I gave her the notice, I got the cold shoulder from my sister-in-law and my husband for about a week or so. I absolutely hated having to sleep beside my husband, knowing he disliked what I did. Eventually, he came around and realized what this was doing to our family when, in an instance, he was working from his office and the babies were out in the living room, some crying non-stop, and she was in her room while talking on the phone. That's when he saw and realized that she was being neglectful, realized the rift that this was causing in our family, and he knew something needed to be done about it. During this time that sister-in-law wasn't talking to me at all, she posted comments about me on social media and tried to, in a way, drag me for the decisions I made regarding her living situation. Well, family members who were aware of the situation sent me screenshots, and I kept it for court records if necessary about what she was saying about me online, calling me toxic, and that I thought that I was better than everyone else because I had everything, and that if it weren't for her brother, my husband, that I wouldn't have what I have now. Well, not that it matters, but I am very well set off with the business I decided to run 2 years ago, so I don't need your brother's money, but nice try. I did gather some informational packages about childcare and where she could go and drop off her kids for free, and some well-trusted places and so on so she can get a job and attempt to make some progress. But she threw them out. Hey man, I tried. At around maybe like 25-ish days was when she moved out, and her baby daddy ended up taking her back. I had the locks to my home changed and was able to restore some peace into my home. My husband's family had mixed feelings about the situation and how it was handled, but if no one else was going to show her some form of tough love or be responsible for their own blood acting like this, then I don't know who would. It was so easy for some to judge when they weren't even willing to help her out at all. It really sucks that it went this far and that my husband only gets to see his nephews on occasion, but I guess better me than blood family, right? If it were my Hispanic family members in this position, they would have been booted out of their household without hesitation until they figured it out. And that's the kind of tough love that I grew up with. Sounds a bit harsh, but definitely does work. I don't know. I feel somewhat shitty, but also, I would never take advantage of someone else's hospitality the way she did. I'm coming up very close to my due date, and as I get bigger and a little more unable to do much around the house, I'm just glad that it's clean. Thank you all once again for riding in this journey for me, and if by any reason there are any future updates, I will let you know. Quote, my husband's family had mixed feelings about the situation and how it was handled. No. My husband's family got scared that they would have to take in this mess of a sister now that I put my foot down. Fix that for you, OP. Her husband isn't much for only kind of sort of seeing the problem when he was directly affected. Husband's family really enjoyed acting like they could judge the OP so she could be the scapegoat for the family. I hope she keeps her baby as far away from these folks as possible. They created the mess called sister-in-law and refused to clean it up. It's a good call to go low contact or no contact. This exact thing happened in my family. My brother has a weird toxic relationship with my sister. No, not like that. Just that, even though he knows she lies and is impossible for anyone to be around, he nevertheless always takes her side. He married a woman from another country and brought her to ours. He understood that they would live together and start a family. Well, cue my sister getting thrown out of whatever living situation she was in again and moving in with them. It's been years now, and they all three live in a 2-bedroom apartment. From what I can tell, my brother's wife and my sister hate each other, and my brother refuses to intervene, saying they have to work it out. I'm not going to list all the ways my sister is awful, but she's not just annoying or messy, she's cruel and violent. She had drug addictions and so on. I don't know why my brother's wife stays. Maybe she doesn't want to return to her home country. I don't know what her status is. I stay completely out of it. Regular life is crazy enough without that circus. This problem didn't start when she was 22 and about to have her 3rd kid. This kind of problem starts when, as teenagers or younger, kids don't have any responsibilities or someone else is always cleaning up behind them. I honestly thought the husband was going to be out the door with the sister, which happens far too often when people let toxic family members rule the roost. The story paints a picture that the sister-in-law has never been held accountable for her own actions. If she was staying in my house, she would have been made to clean up after herself or been kicked out after 1 week, never mind 8 weeks. People put up with way too much BS. Our next post is titled, My girlfriend, 27 female, did the sweetest thing for my brother, 9, and now I know she's the one. My parents moved him to another school towards the end of the school year, and he had trouble making friends. He still invited his whole class to his birthday party that was on Friday, but nobody came. None of the kids. It was really heartbreaking seeing all the empty tables when he was really looking forward to it. My girlfriend of 4 years decided to call her brothers, asking them to come over. Then she took off to go pick up her nephews. They were a little older, but they were still really nice to my brother. She called up her friends with kids. It wasn't a ton of people, but it was way more than before, all thanks to her. My little brother was so happy playing in the jumper with her nephews and brothers. They were all play wrestling with him. He had such a good time. It was nice that everyone came and was being so nice to him, but I'm also just super grateful to my girlfriend because she made it happen. I was watching her that whole time going, wow, I want to marry this woman. She's the one for me. Now I'm literally browsing online for engagement rings. Your little brother was playing with his future family. I love this. Gave me all the feels. I wish you the best life ever. And OP replies, that's all I kept seeing. Thank you. I was thinking also that they sound like really good people to drop everything to be there and to treat your brother with such kindness. This is a huge bonus. If y'all decide to have kids, they will be your kids' family. I'm all excited for you. This is silly. I don't even know you, but yay. And OP replies, yeah, her family is pretty great. Even if my girlfriend hadn't offered to give them a ride to the party, I know they still would have shown up. Her nephews are really good kids. We do want kids in the future, so I'm happy to know they'll have some fun uncles and cousins to hang out with. As someone who recently had his 5-year-old not have anyone show up to his birthday party and saw him get crushed, like everyone flaked out, yeah, she's not just pulled off something amazing, but may have made a life-changing difference. Now, how are you going to learn what her ring size is, brother? And OP replies, I'm really sorry to hear about that. It's a really heartbreaking feeling, especially for a little kid. I hope you guys were able to do something to cheer him up. My dad and I were thinking of taking him somewhere so he didn't focus on that, but luckily my girlfriend came to the rescue. That is a good question too. I don't know if I could just take one of the rings she already has, as she's got a bunch of them, and find a place that could maybe figure out the size. If anyone has got any ideas on how to figure this out covertly, I'm open to hearing it. As a girl who owns lots of rings, I think I could use this advice. Don't select any ring your girlfriend owns, because if she's anything like me, she has several different sizes and rings for different fingers. Also, both of my ring fingers wear different sized rings. Just an FYI, so you don't choose a ring that won't fit the right finger. I know some of you were telling me ways to figure out her ring size without her getting suspicious, but I just wasn't built for that level of stealth, so I brought in her sister to help me. My girlfriend, my fiancé, was crying. I was crying. She said yes, and that's all that matters to me. She's made me the happiest guy. Seriously, I'm still beyond happy that it all worked out. We haven't been able to stop smiling at each other anytime we're in the same room, and I love it. All that's left is the wedding and the rest of our lives together. Congratulations, man. I read your old post, and she's awesome. I'd be lying if I said I didn't fall in love with her a little after reading about her. You were lucky to have found each other, and your brother is lucky to have such a nice future sister-in-law. I wish you both good luck. And OP replies, trust me, I fell even deeper in love when I didn't know that was possible. She is amazing. I'm a really lucky guy. My brother will love when he finds out that she'll be his sister now. I mean, not that she wasn't before, but it'll be more official after we're married. There are great people you meet in life. They make an impact you'll never forget. Some aren't there forever, but those that are, you treasure and adore. OP is definitely doing that right. She is a true gem, and if they decide they want children or don't, or just want to adore their nieces and nephews or friends' kids, you can tell she will be a beloved person in the kids' lives. Aside from the cute, obvious thing, you can tell that she came from a good, healthy family because she asked them to go to a stranger party, that they don't know the kid well, and they said, yeah, sure, we'll make that kid happy, and stopped whatever they were doing to make a negative experience become a positive one. OP, congratulations. She's a gem for sure. Yeah. It wasn't even just the adults who came through, but the older kids who at that age can sometimes pull an attitude or get whiny. OP married into an awesome family. When my son was 5, he wanted to have a Halloween party. We were homeschooling, so he made all the decorations, planned games. We took cooking classes and he made, with my help, all the decorated cookies. He asked us, and we got laser pointers and a simple smoke machine to create fog and see the laser beams for a game that he invented. We were new to the country, so my then husband suggested inviting his colleagues' kids. We had been to parties and playdates with these little ones, so we sent invitations happily. My son and I worked all week. I had never seen him so invested, and then every single frickin' parent cancelled on the same day. Found out later they were invited to a better, not homemade party. Luckily, I had like an hour before the actual party. We had an awesome cleaning lady, because in Ecuador, service people are really humble and poor. I saw them badly treated on a constant basis. The cleaning lady had a small son. I called her up and asked if his little one and friends would like to come. When I explained the situation, she suggested to call next door's house sitter. She had 2 kids with 3 small cousins that lived nearby. No one of these kids had ever had a Halloween party or a big party of any kind. So on my way to pick them up, I bought simple one-piece costumes for everybody. The kids and my son had a blast. I had never seen any kids as happy as these ones. They enjoyed every game, loved the lasers and fog, ate everything in a whim, thus convincing my son that he was an awesome chef, and left with the tons of goodies my sons had made. We never ever invited the posh kids to any birthday or Halloween again. All of the mums of the kids that came later told me that the kids talked about the party for days, kept some decorations for months. The Halloween parties became their event of the year. We had 4 of them. I, 29 female, recently learned that my 34 male husband has another family. My husband and I had a very fast courtship and engagement. We met and married within 11 months and have been married for 4 years in March. My husband has a job that requires him to travel a lot. Without giving too much information, he's a VP in sales for a company that produces something that's in every house and building in America. So he is constantly working and on the road about 50% of the time. I entered our marriage knowing this and have never had an issue. I learned about 7 months after our wedding that he had actually been engaged to someone else, let's call her Amanda, at the time we met. He claimed he was worried about hurting her as they had been together since high school. However, what hurt me the most is that he did not call off their engagement until he proposed to me. We worked through those issues thanks to therapy, and we continued to still go to therapy. Early last week, I discovered I was pregnant with our 3rd child. He was out of town, so I thought that it would be fun to surprise him with the news at his hotel, so I planned on getting a cake with "You're going to be a dad again" delivered to his hotel. I called the hotel asking how I could go about this, and was told they didn't have him staying at that hotel. I assumed I had messed up where he was staying, but I know his company would only put him in that hotel group. I have, admittedly, overlooked some red flags and realized something was going on. I know he's dumb enough to keep all his passwords the same, and I know our passwords for Netflix, etc., and I logged onto his Facebook and Instagram to snoop. While snooping, I found DMs with Amanda that were flirty, and she had been tagging him in stories. I called him up and asked him if there was anything he wanted to tell me. He said absolutely not, and I said, "Are you sure? Because I know you're not staying at X hotel, because I was trying to surprise you with something." After now being together, I can pick up on some of his lying tells, and when he tried to tell me that he was somewhere else, I called him out on his tell, and he said he would be home that night and we could talk. I assumed he was coming home to tell me that he and Amanda were seeing each other, but instead, he told me that he had been having an affair with a woman that we will call Sarah, and Sarah and him have 2 kids together. He was with her, and has not been going on as many work trips since COVID started. The kicker is, he started seeing Sarah while still engaged to Amanda, and his kids with her are 6, and one who will be 4 a week before our 4-year anniversary. He and Sarah both claim that they haven't had sexual relations since their youngest was conceived. He was seeing both Sarah, Amanda, and I at once in the beginning of our relationship. I asked him about his DMs with Amanda, and he said that they had reconnected at his 15-year school reunion, which I did not go to because I had just given birth 2 nights before, last year, and been hanging out with old high school friends. I am absolutely devastated and confused. I gave birth to our first son January of 2020, our second son June of 2021, and like I said, I am currently pregnant with our 3rd. The betrayal goes further with the fact that his mother has been helping him hide this secret from everyone. She has been the best grandmother to my boys and is very active in their life, and helps with me cleaning our home and giving me time to do things away from the kids. She knew every time he was going to go see Sarah and their kids, and never once told me. I'm coming to the realization that everything in my world revolves around him. I can't even begin to talk to my friends about this because all of my friends are his friends' wives. I feel like I am this big joke to his friends and family, and I'm not sure how to change that. I don't have a job because I quit it to be able to travel with him when we got engaged. I feel like I'm stuck and I don't know how to get out. Has anyone left a marriage not knowing where to go or how to survive? I get a feeling a lot of people leave marriages not knowing where to go or how to survive. At least initially, but you do figure yourself out eventually. Like how plans go from, can't wait to settle down in a weird part of Europe with you and start a new life, to, so what's your favorite color? Let's play 20 questions. Ick. Anyway, my opinion on this is that, holy crap, this guy has 2 other families going on? Or at least one side piece, one family, already paying other child support? First to file gets more money. Start looking for places, resources, etc. ASAP. Alimony won't last forever for a 4-year marriage. The man is a serial cheater and thinks it's fine just having multiple families and women in his life. If you aren't okay with that, you need out. Is she sure that she's actually married? If he has 2 other women and a family on the side, what makes OP so sure that she's actually his first and legal wife? OP, if this is real, you need to hire an investigator to make sure that you are in fact legally married. If he is married to these women with government-issued licenses, he's committed fraud and is doing something illegal. OP needs a lawyer ASAP to advise her. Start gathering every financial document you can secretly to show your lawyer. The depths of his lies are, I guess, shittily impressive would be the right phrasing. I hate to point out the blaringly obvious, but you married a man that you later found out concealed an entire fiancé from you. The fact that you stayed with him is amazing. The fact that said fiancé has since decided to flirt and reconnect with him is unbelievable. What does this guy have? A chocolate-covered dick gilded in gold and fairy tales? I like that one. At this juncture, your only sane option is divorce. You could, of course, choose to stay with his lying ass, realizing of course that he will continue to cheat and make more babies, and his mother/friends will help him cover it all up. So you won't have to witness the cockroaches in the light of day if you don't want to, but keep in mind, your children are learning from him. If you want a brood of lying cheaters with daddy issues, then this is the course to choose. As I see it, he travels too much to get custody and has too many children to juggle on his own. If his friends and family are tending his lies, then getting rid of all that extra toxicity would be a welcome breath of fresh air as well. No chocolate-colored dick, but just apparently a lot of money. I wonder if that's why OP ignored the red flags. I'm stuck on the part where he went to his high school reunion 2 days after you gave birth. That's what I was thinking too, like, you just gave birth and he's going to his high school reunion? I would stop having kids with this person just based on that treatment. This right here is what would have been enough for me to be fuming, let alone the web of lies this toxic MF has entangled OP into. OP, I love you, so sorry for you. Go get the best lawyer out there and make sure whatever agreement you all come to includes him paying for said lawyer, whether it is now or later. Also, please find an equally good therapist. This guy's just sounding like a budget Elon Musk, with all like the hidden babies and families that he's got going on right now. What with his 2 kids with Grimes, secret twins with the executive of Neuralink that he's got going on there. OP really trying to reach these billionaire heights, that's all I can say. Now back up to the post, we have an edit. Thank you to everyone who's reached out. Even if some of your messages were a little bit odd, I do get that marrying someone in 11 months is fast, but I know many people who have dated far less and have been married for 30 plus years. It's not like I can go back and fix it now. I will answer a few questions I saw because I have no real update. 1. I am married to him. I handled all of our wedding paperwork. 2. His high school reunion was at a bar/restaurant downtown. We live in his hometown. He wanted to go, and I am incredibly introverted. I like being alone, and I didn't mind being alone with our newborn as our oldest was with his grandmother. I also want to make it clear, I didn't know about Amanda when we got married. I knew he had an ex-girlfriend from high school, but he told me that he ended it. He lied to everybody about ending it with her. I found out about it 7 months into our marriage. At that time, I knew Amanda had some issues, and he spun it as, I knew it was you, but I couldn't hurt her. And I'm sitting here with a confused look of disgust. And now on to the update. I officially am a single woman as of today. I want to thank everyone who commented, and those who reached out with their ideas, and those who have been in the same situation as I was in. I took photos of all the infidelity and lies. One of his friends got me a good divorce lawyer, and my ex knew that he was screwed from the start, so it was speedy, and he gave me half of everything, and is paying far more than I expected for child support, and is granting me spousal support for a while. I reached out to a few of the wives when I found things out, and shockingly, his friend group picked me and not him. That was the most surprising thing out of this. These are friends that he's had for 20 plus years. They opened up a lot of his behavior, and a few of the wives actually were getting ready to tell me about his flirty encounters with Amanda, but as a mum with 2 kids under 2, they were concerned with my mental health and were going to tell me at the end of the month at a mum's getaway that we were having. I didn't have a job when I left, but one of his friends' wives owns a marketing company, which is what my job was before we got married, and told me when I was ready, she would have a job ready for me. I started that job back in April and have actually been enjoying it. I am still pregnant. That was a decision that I made on my own. I love being a mum, and my boys are my whole world. I was going back and forth on it, but I truly love our children. It was not an easy decision to come to, but I'll figure it out one day, at a time like I have for the last 6 months. The good thing that came out of this is that it actually had me call my parents. My parents and I have never had the best relationships. I left home at 18 and I moved halfway across the country. Where I live now is only a 4-hour drive from my parents, and I've only seen them once outside of my wedding since I moved here. My mum dropped her whole life when I called her. She doesn't have the healthiest life when she's alone, so about 8 weeks after my Reddit post, I asked if she wanted to move here and help me take care of the kids, under specific circumstances. And she agreed and has been doing so much better, and our relationship is slowly growing to become a healthy one. Thankfully, our kids are young, the boys are 2 and 1, so they'll only really know mum and dad weren't together. He's a wonderful dad. I have tried my hardest to be the bigger person, and have even had Sarah and her kids over so he can have all his kids together. He is as great a dad to her kids as he is to mine. I had a few people reach out to me who have half-siblings from affairs, and they gave me great insight. I will do my best to keep my kids around Sarah's kids. I'm still in therapy, and do not ever plan on giving that up. To answer the number one question I got, why did I let my husband go to his high school reunion when I had just given birth? Have y'all seen those videos on YouTube of like, the guy who never left his hometown? That is my ex in a nutshell. I would rather him go out for 4 hours to give me alone time with our newborn than hear about how he missed his high school reunion for what I thought was going to be the rest of my life. Our older son was with grandma that night anyway, so it was just me and the babe. I wasn't going to complain that someone wasn't in my way for 4 hours. And now in the comments, sounds like you're doing just great. Awesome. OP replies, have my good and bad days. There was about a good 3 weeks where I couldn't get out of bed. I was so bad, but having it legally over takes a whole lot of weight off my shoulders. I'm so happy for you, and I wish you all the best moving forward. I was kinda shocked his mother helped him hide his secrets, and she should be ashamed of herself for that. And OP replies, I think his mum was afraid to lose him. His dad passed unexpectedly when he was in elementary school, and his stepdad and mum divorced a year before we got married. He financially takes care of her. I think she went along with it to keep that. She's apologized to me and Sarah. I want nothing to do with her outside of helping with my sons, so my relationship with her is over, which hurt more than the divorce, weirdly. He sounds even more terrible now. His mother needed therapy instead of going along with hurting you. But you're free now, and you prove to be mentally stronger than you probably ever thought. You have a lot more support too. I'm super happy for you and your future. You're a strong mama. Wow, I'm glad everything ended up kind of working out for you. Did Sarah know about you? I can't believe you had her in your home with his secret kids. You're a way stronger woman than I am. And OP replies, she did know about me, but she also was led to believe that I knew about her. She has showed me countless amounts of evidence and proof that he lied about me just as much as he lied to me. He made it seem like I was a selfish, unkind woman who didn't want their kids around me. She wasn't even made aware of our oldest child until I was pregnant with the second. She was starting to put pieces together that he wasn't being truthful, so she started recording him and their conversations. Our next post is titled, I moved to nip an affair in the making, and it worked. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. My wife and I have been married a long time. Married at 19 years old, still married and in love at 51 years old. Raised 3 great kids to adulthood in that time, great life together. Sometimes, however, I think someone can meet another person they just click with in an unbelievable way. I think this happened to my wife. We had moved 1,000 miles away from our hometown for my work. She got a job at a hospital in the new town and hated the job. For the first 3 years there, she absolutely hated going to work every day. She would cry regularly. I was there for her in any way she needed. I helped her with her resume because she wanted to find something else. I gave her a shoulder to cry on. I listened and sympathized when she vented. I love her with all my heart and will always be there for her. After about 3 years, they hired a new guy at her work. He did the same kind of work she did, but for another department in the hospital. He's a really nice guy. I've met him multiple times. Anyway, he was closer to all the bullshit they had to put up with at their jobs. He understood better than I could. He spent more time with her than I could. If you're employed full-time, you spend more time with your job and co-workers than you do with your family. That's a fact. He was instrumental in helping her turn the job around. He understood exactly what they were going through better than I ever could. Misery loves company, and now my wife had company. They started working as a team, and the job got better for the both of them. I could see them growing closer professionally, but then it transcended work, and they started growing closer as friends outside work. And we all know where that can lead. I started to become really concerned about this, but never wanted to look like an insecure, jealous husband, so I let it go. They texted regularly and hung out together at work all day long. They were the only 2 people in their office. They shared an office, so they chit-chatted all day. I could see their relationship growing every day right in front of my eyes. My wife and I are as close as any 2 human beings can be, but I saw that this relationship at work was starting to impact our me and you against the world closeness. There was a third person entering into my marriage, even though it was currently still at the very early innocent stages. I started to bring up that I was concerned about it and that I didn't like how she was acting around another man. That would get shut down on me. Don't be silly, we're just friends and co-workers. He has a fiancé. Or, he's the one person that has made this job bearable and you want me to ignore him? It was just a shitty situation all the way around. I really didn't know what to do. My own field is very specialized and lucrative. As luck would have it, or God stepped in, or karma, or fate, or the universe, whatever is your bag, I got a call from a headhunter. A place in our hometown was looking for a new C-level executive to run an entire division. Huge job, huge salary in our hometown. I really loved what I was doing in my current job, and now my wife loved her job and her co-worker, and we loved the new town. Usually, that would lead me to say thanks but no thanks to the headhunter. This time, however, I saw it as an opportunity to make a positive impact on my marriage. My wife couldn't argue with the opportunity. It was huge and almost doubled my salary. We had family and friends back in our hometown. I could tell that she was absolutely heartbroken over the potential of losing this new best friend that I know in my heart they were both developing real feelings for each other. I know in my heart that my wife loved this man. I know that she still loved me, and I don't think that she would have ever cheated or left for this guy, but I know I was slowly losing her to him. She didn't act on anything, but there was something growing between them. I could tell when we all got together that his fiancé hated my wife, even though they never met before. So that told me that she could sense a threat to her relationship too, and didn't like it one bit. So, I applied, interviewed, got offered, and accepted this job. In my heart, I'd say only 10% of it was because of the opportunity, and 90% of it was to get my wife away from her job and that person. We moved. She hated leaving that job and her buddy. I could tell she was sad and depressed over the loss of this other man in her life. I knew in my heart that they were having a full-on emotional affair, even if both of them were not aware of it. A lot of times that is how these things start. One or both parties aren't even consciously aware of what's happening until it's too late and they've ruined some lives. I know this might not be an ideal way to handle such a situation, but it worked. My wife found a new job back home, and we're back in our old social circle of friends and family. For a few months, they would message on Facebook occasionally. Nothing bad, she would always show me, but they were maintaining their connection. But that stopped months ago. Out of sight, out of mind. They don't communicate at all anymore. He has since married his fiancée, and my wife and I are very happy back home again. I could literally feel the change, and one day while we were sitting on the couch watching Fixer Upper, her head was on my shoulder, and she looked up and she said, "I love you so much. I know for a while in the city that we used to live in, I wasn't the best partner, but I was so miserable in my job, and part of me blamed you for moving me there. My coworker was really like a wartime buddy where you share the same horrible experience with, so you start bonding with them. But in retrospect, I think it was wrong, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm so sorry if it hurt your feelings. I'll never do anything like that again. You are the love of my life. All's well that ends well. I love my wife with all my heart, and she loves me. We'll be together until one of us dies of old age. There is a good chance that I would have taken this job anyway because it's such a good opportunity, but at that time, that's not why I took it. I took it because I had a threat to my marriage, the thing that is most important to me in life, and I saw it as an opportunity to remove the threat from the equation. I took that opportunity and won't ever apologize for why I did it." Wow, I really applaud your maturity in how you handled this. And OP replies, "Thank you. It was the scariest time in my life, far scarier than when I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. My marriage is the most important thing in the world to me. The thought of how far this threat could go was keeping me up at night and terrifying me. I can appreciate that not everybody would have an opportunity fall into their lap to correct a situation like this, but I still warn people who value their marriage. If you see a threat developing, do whatever you have to do to nip it in the bud. I'm glad that it worked out for you. It was big of your wife to admit her part in it. Sadly, I think this happens too easily. It's super easy to be charming and fun with someone that you don't have to handle life's true challenges with. People lose sight of that. Literally just went through a scenario like this, but didn't get that convenient opportunity that you did. We weren't legally married, but mentally we were. 8 years together, and could have gone 80 without making it legal. It didn't matter to us. Just like you, I saw it coming. I talked to her about it, and she always downplayed it. I kept my cool and I tried to be mature about it. She left me for him 3 weeks ago. I'm so happy that it worked out for you and your wife. Timing is everything. This needs to be seen more. If you feel threatened and jealousy was never an issue with you before, there's usually a reason for it. Don't let them downplay it because it can only end badly. I agree in not letting them downplay it. If it's a concern, then they could at least respect why you feel that way and acknowledge it. I get the part of not wanting to come across as jealous, but we all get jealous on some level. It's only natural. In the end, people are going to do what people want to do. I lean on the side that says, if a person truly cares about you and loves you the way that they say they do, then they would not go and explore romantic emotions with someone else while still being with you. If that's what they want, then that's within their right. The problem arises when they do it while the other person believes they are still in a committed relationship. This is a shitty display of character in my opinion. It's okay to have friends and other support systems outside of your own marriage. I believe it's healthy. It's good to have other perspectives and other support circles, but it seems like OP's wife was exploring emotional and possible romantic replacement of the OP while telling him that it's nothing to worry about. What's to say that she won't resort to this again? I don't think OP should have let it slide as easily. Had he not moved away, she most likely would have continued it. This is a red flag in my opinion. Like I said, people are going to do what they want to do. Her actions are concerning for their marriage, and it allows for untrust in the relationship. I think you did exactly the right thing. I fully believe this was an affair in the making. Now, not everybody is going to have a chance at a new job and to move to put an end to something like this, but that opportunity did present itself and you took it, and I salute you for that. You did what you had to do to protect your family, and the result was positive. That's awesome. And now on to the update. Far too many posts to respond to. My wife and I are reading through this thread together. We do everything together. We're a team. She wanted me to add for anyone that might be in her shoes that sometimes you really don't see things like this coming, but if you're not vigilant, you may end up ruining the best part of your life. She is as happy as I am about how everything turned out. We are not really religious people, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that this situation didn't make me question if there isn't someone out there watching out for us and had to be aware when God, the universe, whatever, presents a solution to a problem. Don't ignore it. I know that I was extremely lucky that this opportunity came along. I really didn't know what to do. I felt so helpless. That doesn't happen for a lot of people, and my heart breaks for them. I will never stop being thankful of how lucky I was. There were a lot of assumptions in this thread made about me, about my wife, and about our whole lives together. Some good, some bad, some downright nasty. I understand that you're only getting a tiny slice of our lives. I assure you, we are happily married 32 years now, and will be married till death do us part. Hopefully, even beyond that. Would either of us do whatever is necessary to protect our marriage from any and all negative influences in this world? You betcha. My wife tells this story more than I do. She has told it to our adult children as a cautionary tale. She has said that if the situation was reversed, she would do the exact same thing. I wouldn't be angry if she did. I've had several close female friends over the decades that we've been married. When my wife picks up a vibe that one of these women may have desired more than friendship, she voiced her concerns. A couple of times that was met with, "Don't be silly, we're just friends." In retrospect, my wife was not being silly. Those friendships could have been a threat to the marriage, but we'll never know because we nipped them in the bud and put our marriage first. All I can wish anyone here is to find the same kind of happiness that my wife and I share. It's wonderful, and I hope if you don't already have it, that you find it. Peace. I think they both got the wrong message. OP thinks this dude made them less together, but OP's wife suggests that the move itself is where the marriage started fracturing. They weren't them against the world to begin with on this story. OP just didn't notice it until his wife had a dude that she didn't resent and did seem to be helping her on the scene. So of course the move back worked and OP's wife didn't question it. The move back is what OP's wife wanted in the first place. What they both should have learned is that when one person in a partnership is desperately unhappy, to keep the partnership strong, you can't just support them. You've got to make a plan together for how to stop the misery. Thank you. I was hoping someone would point that out. Reading this, I couldn't help but think, dude, if your wife is miserable enough that she's crying regularly for 3 years, but you only start looking for solutions when she starts talking to another guy, maybe you're not such an upstanding husband. Relevant comment from OP. Quote, "Actually, I offered to quit my job and move us back home every week for that entire 3 years. I would have too, but she didn't want that." Really depends on how he put it. Quit his job and accept a lower standard of living? Then she's responsible for their economic misery just because she's a crying weak woman. Start looking for a job as good as or better than his current one and move when he finds one? Supportive and realistic. Look, I mean, if it's really bad, I can just quit, probably won't find a job for a few months, so we have to live with your parents, and then maybe after a few years, we're back on track. Just say the word, and I'd quit. Come on, it's as easy as that, wife. Why are you so unhappy? Come on, you can fix this problem, man. Just work with me. We're a team, alright? You don't want us to be happy? That's my artistic extrapolation of the scene. I hope it didn't trigger you guys with bad memories and whatnot. Just get hired as an executive at double my salary to save the marriage. Gotcha. Isn't that how everyone deals with their deep-rooted emotional problems? Lights picture of my father on fire with $100 bill? My godfather and I had a really good talk one time about emotional affairs. He was getting married to his now wife soon, and I was still a teenager with no clue about how marriage works. He told me marriage, even a very happy one, wouldn't prevent you falling in love with another person. These things just happen, and you have no control over them. But being married to someone means being committed for life, and even if the butterflies fade away, falling for someone else is never worth breaking this promise. When you marry someone, you have to be aware of that from the start. I was kind of shocked that he told me that because he is very religious, and I thought religious people had that happily ever after image of marriage. But in the end, I realized there was more to it than I initially thought. Marriage is hard. Some of the best description/advice I've ever heard about marriage is that it's a choice you have to get up every day and make. It's helped mine for sure. Honestly, his solution was the only one he had available that didn't make him the bad guy. He didn't force the wife to do anything, he simply found a choice she preferred over the guy. More money, back to their hometown. She could have refused to go back with him if staying meant so much, since she wasn't financially dependent on him. That said, this can't be the solution all the time. It's sad that later on he says that they're a team and so in love, brushing aside that by his own account, the only reason they're still together is because of the distance from the other man. Some counseling to get through why she almost did it is needed. The story says why she did it. A part of her resented him, OP, for forcing her to move and be miserable, and she hated her job. She found the one bright spot in a terrible situation, resenting her husband and resenting her job, so she latched onto it. And going back to their hometown fixed those things. She left a bad job, and she was back amongst her friends and family. Plus, her husband was making more money now, so she didn't have to feel bad about her husband leaving the other job that made them move. Much to think about with that one, but unfortunately, that is where I'm going to have to leave this episode today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.